Welcome, Dynea. You have arrived. And what does that entail, that you have arrived? Anything in particular? Is the world going to come to an end now? Or has it just begun? My partner in crime shall be here as well. Okay. What crimes did you all commit today?
おはよう、ケイチ。あら、ゆうべは何時に寝たの？
So what happened last? Oh yeah, Keiichi was thinking about like that entire sequence between Rena and Mion and all that. That's what happened. Okay, just have to remember what exactly happened last time. I did not sleep well last night. At all. My mother could tell from a single glance. What'd you do today? Did you play more Roblox? I believe he's a Magic the Gathering game right now. Nice! Hello, Marissa. How are you doing? Had the worst dreams. Nightmares. Very ominous dreams. One after the other. Again and again. I woke up one after each other. Wait, I woke up after each one, but could never even remember a fraction of what they've been about. It was like those dreams were predicting something unpleasant. Did somebody mention how to say my name? Yeah, Diana here was saying that, you were complaining about it, so I'm sorry, I didn't know, I didn't know that, it was a different way to pronounce it. You could have told me earlier, though, I didn't realize I was saying it wrong. No, it's fine, it's okay. I just didn't know. I just didn't know. But it was like those dreams were predicting something unpleasant, and I woke up in a terrible mood. Hey, now, every day has been calm and fun before today, right? These days should continue on, unchanging. And yet, anxiety was the only emotion growing within me. Why was that? But yeah, I mean, now that I know how to say it, though. So I think that's the most important thing. Where's Surplus? Dinah has said that he's in a Magic the Gathering game right now. Do the first to redeem. Nightmares reflect your own anxiety. They show an uneasy mind that which you wouldn't admit to normally. Did you have oh yeah, how was your kale salad? Wasn't your kale salad today, Diana? Could be no, that's no problem. Even if he wants to keep playing Magic the Gathering, that's no issue. They show an uneasy mind that which you wouldn't admit to normally. Hello, Z. How are you? Yesterday, I remember the ominous conversations about Satoshi I had with Shion, Mion, and Rena. Higo Kara. Okay. It's just your way of saying Higurashi. I see. I like that. I like that way. You know, there are always many different ways to say something. You got it, Marissa! Holy! Not even close. Right. My mind felt like it was a black fog because we had talked about that. If I'd live every day without causing a fuss, my reward would be ever more peaceful days. How are you doing, Z? I understand that, so why did I cause such discord? But now that I thought about it calmly, a simple verbal slip on my part couldn't possibly change the world. Yeah, as long as I'm sorry for doing it and never talk about it again, there's nothing anyone can blame me for, right? Besides, how would my fate possibly change just because I talked about that? Nothing was gonna change. Yeah, nothing would change. Nothing would change. Nothing would change.
気持ち悪い笑い。
Yeah, I agree, Keiichi's mom. Why do we not know? Why have we never learned her name or Keiichi's dad's name? I feel like I understand this from Keiichi's perspective, but I'm pretty sure he still wouldn't view Keiichi's mom. He would just say like, Mom.
寝ぼけてるなら顔を洗ってらっしゃい。
I finally cheered up enough to smile, and Mom slapped me right down. Now I was irritated again. Oh yeah, I was asking, did you guys play Roblox today, or no Roblox? There wasn't much time before I had to meet up with Rena. I frantically started to get ready to go to school. What are you mad about, Teresa?
車に気をつけるのよ。
気をつけるほど車もいないよ。
Hey Ruben! By the way, here's an update to phase 2 of your weapon. The rifle shoots 2 projectiles, and if held longer, it creates a big ball projectile in front of the... Wait. Oh, okay, so it's like if you tap it, it does that. And if you new emote want to use it... I'm pretty sure you've always had those, unless like, yeah, I'm pretty sure you've always had those emotes. Like, you should always get 5 free emotes. I have 5 free ones. How long are you streaming today? We'll see. I'm planning just 1 segment. If it's short, then maybe 2, but if it's, yeah, so we'll see. So, assume normal time. Like 2 hours. About. Okay, it creates a big ball projectile in front and shoots towards and everything. The ball projectile spawns 3. Oh, okay, so it's like, phase 2 of the weapon. That's cool. I like that because it's like the slime and it splits. I really like that, Z. That's very cool. Yes, I had different ones for free. Nice. Oh, okay. Like the ones to redeem. I see. That sounds perfect. Great.
南沢には
I dashed out the front door. The morning air was far from refreshing than the water on my face. Leave me alone. That's right, Keiichi Maibara. If you're sorry enough about it and reflect upon your mistakes, that's enough. Now let's pull yourself together and get to school. And return to fun, enjoyable days. And he's gonna see Rena and she's gonna go, like, schizo mode, isn't she? Everyone laughs, plays, and just has a good time. I mean, oh wait, I just realized, Dianea, you already redeemed the cat thing yesterday as well, so I have to do it for 10 minutes to... Or, sorry, it was already 10 minutes, so I have to do it for 10 more minutes now that you've redeemed this as well. Okay, let's see your joke. Okay, this is the one from yesterday. What kind of cats like to go bowling? Alley cats. Very cool. Reuben sandwich from Arby's. You are the second person, Rissa, to say that. I cannot see. You have another person saying this thing. My idea is phase 1, just the gun. Phase 2, the attack I just gave. Phase 3, when the gun projectile hits an enemy, rains down from 2. Okay, wait, slime rain sounds. It's like the arrow rain from that other gun. I can't remember what it's called, or the other bow. Sorry. But like, it's different because the slime rain is just on the enemy, or does it fall from the sky? It'd be nice to Satoko as an apology too. Yeah. Wasn't I supposed to be her knee until Satoshi got back?
Ohaya?
That's it. No, I'm delicious. I'm glad, Ruben. Yeah, it's great. It falls from the sky and from the ground. Oh. Okay, interesting. So it's like multiple areas it's gonna fall from. Okay, that's cool. Rena too looked nothing like she had yesterday when she said that weird stuff. If I could only forget, then I could still act like nothing had happened. So I called out to her with all the energy I could muster.
Ohayo, Rena. 相変わらず早いな.
Okay, I thought she was gonna like immediately go schizo mode, but no, she's fine. It'll rain normal slimes to the sky and gray slimes from the ground. Oh! Wait, that's cool! That's very cool. I'm very interested to see how this weapon turns out, like, it in use. It's really cool. It sounds really cool to me. And I really like the way you've taken the design, like how it has faces and all that. How big is your tongue? Weird question. What do you want me to use to, like, that's not something I've ever measured before. How do you want me to, like, measure? My mouth overall is pretty small. I know I've always had a small mouth. So I guess my tongue probably has to be small. There was a little time before the same old morning homeroom began. In miles. Have you measured your tongue in miles? What's your tongue in miles? You know, if you give me yours, maybe I can use yours as a reference, since I've never done that before. It's difficult to measure a tongue, yeah. Like, where does the tongue even start? Because it starts from, like, back in your mouth. Maybe they went to play somewhere. Hi, Surplus. However, looking over and seeing none of their things, so it looked like they really hadn't come to school. Like 0.003 30th of a mile. Then mine would probably be like 0.0025th of a mile. That's what I'm guessing. Michael Jackson, Higurashi. Good one, Z. Good one. I'm sure he would love that joke. In diner, you're gonna stay for reading Umineko. Nice! I hope you don't fall asleep during it. My tongue is 8 centimeters long, started at my back teeth. What did you use? Like, you used a ruler? You stuck a... I guess no, because you could measure from outside, I guess. I don't have a ruler, though. On hand, at least. Well, I was wondering. A ruler? I don't know. You're so dumb. Please tell me what you do. What'd you use then? What'd you use then to measure? To measure. We're looking over and seeing none of their things, so it looked like they really hadn't come to school. How are you gonna shove a ruler down your throat and see? I don't know. Measuring tape. Della is the stupidest human. No, I don't think so. Okay, I'm actually very smart. Look how massive my head is. You think someone with this, do you think someone with a small brain would have a huge head like this? No, I don't think so. This head is to store my entire brain. It's like a waist measure thing. Oh, okay, like one of those. Okay, yeah, I understand. This type of person, a ruler under his pillow to see how long he slept. Well, if maybe, okay, just hypothetically, what if you put a ruler under yourself, right? And depending how far the ruler moves means how much you turned in your sleep, which means how long you slept. What are thoughts about that? Rana seemed to be enjoying herself thinking about what their excuse for being late was. You just proved our point that you're dumb, Tuno. I'm just saying that's a hypothetical thing. I'm not saying I did that, but I'm saying that you could, hypothetically, that is a way to measure. Starting extreme ruthless. I mean, when everyone's here to gang up on me, I'm pretty sure this is just how it turns out. Delphiduno is the only person on Earth I want to call slurs. And what type of slurs would you use, Surplus? Let's hear them. Let's hear them, actually. Mion said something nonsensical as well, imagining how funny the reason they were late must have been. I'd only come to school to see their energetic faces, since I figured it would get rid of these feelings I have. But the load on my chest remained where it was. Clanker! Okay, that doesn't apply to me, though. I thought the entire thing was that I'm a Clanker sympathizer. But the load on my chest remained where it was. It wasn't very pleasant at all. A Delpher! Is this slur just directed to me? Our teacher finally arrived. Then I finally heard the pitter-patter of footsteps running down the hall. Clatter. Rika-chan was the first to run through the open door. And then Satoko. We're not bringing up this every single day. Like, I don't know how you guys manage to do it. Every single day, like, I'm just in call with, like, some people, and then they bring up the gopher thing again. It's like, remember when we used to say gopher? Didn't you love that? Literally, I went silent the entire time they brought up the gopher thing, and now here in stream, it's brought up again. For what reason? And then Satsuko didn't come.
遅刻ですよ、フルデさん。北条さんはどうしましたか？
It was unusual for Rika-chan to be late, but equally unusual for Satsuko, a ball of energy, to be absent. Everyone's eyes were wide at the series of strange events.
さとこはちょっと遅れるかもしれないの
It
で
is
す。
forever, that's why. Yeah, I guess so. Because you're a furry gopher suit wearing clanker fucker. Is that? Are you happy with that surplus? Are you like? Does that make you happy? You said those series of words. Look, it's me. Okay, what do we have here? Oh my gosh. Wait, let me move this up. Actually, there. Yeah, it's a gopher feeding a giant gopher. What is this? Is this like you guys giving me? This is you guys giving me exchanging channel points for me to like meow on stream or something. That's what's happening here right now. Okay. That was the most happy I've ever felt, Duff Tuna yet. Well, I'm glad to have made you happy. You know what? At least you got some enjoyment from that. Meow on stream. No, I don't think I'll be doing that. Who's terrorizing the entire internet with slurs. Just a classic Delphinduno stream. What else is new? The teacher walked over to Rika-chan and they started talking in hushed tones.
リカちゃんが遅刻でサトコが欠席なんて珍しいこともあるもんだよ。
Okay, and Satsuko's absent. Wait, but she's not absent yet.
だけど、さとこちゃんどうしたんだろう。風邪かな。
Why now, when I most wanted to see Satsuko's energetic face? The unease that had been building since last night tightened within my chest.
ケイちゃんは心配しすぎ。年頃の女の子にはね、どうしても体の都合で具合が悪くなっちゃう時があるの。
Is that a thing? Why is that a thing to be laughing about me on?
みーちゃん、それ男の子の前で言うことじゃないよ。
Mion laughed indecently. Normally I would laugh along with her, but right now, I just don't feel like it. I don't know. Homeroom ended and we talked to Rika-chan in the short time we had before first period ended.
よ
Or
リカちゃ
started.
ん。遅刻して怒られて、かわいそうかわいそうだな。今日は俺がなでなでしてあげよう。
What is that, Z? What happened? It got flattened entirely. I was very aware of my gloom this morning, so I strove to keep my tone cheerful. I petted Rika-chan's head the same way she always did, but she didn't cheer up at all.
みー、
サトコはどうしたんだ？風邪か？
For instance, she got a fever from playing around too much yesterday. Whomst are you, Dianea? Ow, Oni? If that had been her response, I would have accepted it in a flash.
うん。
But the atmosphere around Rika-chan felt somewhat heavy. It was a little weird and actually made my unease worse.
ほらほらほら。
You're going into the background and work on the weapon. It sounds good, Z. Oppa, I provide some good background noise. The ow witch. Oh, okay. We saw China. Okay, sounds good. No problem.
男の子には話せない事情ってのもあるんだから。ケイちゃんはお席へ戻って戻って。
Mion, acting just like a club president, pulled me back to my chair. Rika-chan's gaze immediately fell back to her desk, and she hung her head gloomily. Rika-chan had said something odd that Satsuko might be a bit late. Would be funny if I put the most diabolical song on stream. Another diabolical song. They were living together, weren't they? Then she would have known for sure. She wouldn't have said might. I didn't understand why she was absent, and that all the more made me more anxious. Damn it, what's going on today? It's like we started off on the wrong foot and it wasn't gonna get any better.
どうしたのかな、ケイチくん。今日はなんだか朝から元気ないよ。
Rena noticed how I looked and whispered to me while the teacher wasn't looking.
そんなに俺、元気ないか？
うん。見てるレナまで元気がなくなるくらいに。
I thought of jokingly saying, then don't look at me. But I didn't even feel like doing that.
レナに話せること？どんな悩みかわからないけど、聞いて力になれることなら聞くよ。
I won't tease you. Rena said this, looking me straight in the
昨
eye.
日まで何も変なことなんか起きなくて楽しかったんだ。
Huh? Rena's eyes widened for a moment, not understanding what I meant, but she remained silent and
穏
listened.
やかで楽しくて毎日が賑やかで
He definitely is not, no.
そんな毎日が繰り返されることに何の不安もなかった。
Low-key scared? Oh, MTC. Oh no. Maybe that's not the best type of songs to be playing right now. Man, MTC is... I remember. Holy, it took me a while. I was like, why does this sound familiar?
うん。そうだね。毎日楽しいよ。きっと今日も楽しくなる。
絶対にそうなるって自信が持てるか？
Of course I know MTC by Searle. Like, that was what? Like, that was the meme song in middle school. Between, like all my friends. Rena, feeling perplexed, couldn't think of something to say. I didn't blame her. What I was trying to say seemed a little confusing, even to me.
思えばここ最近不安だったんだ。毎日が楽しいからこそある日ふっと電球が切れるみたいに突然真っ暗になってしまうんじゃないかって。
うん。その気持ち、ちょっぴりレナもわかるよ。
Rena nodded gently.
私たちはいいことばかりは続かないってずっと教えられてきたから、楽しいことの裏側を時々恐れるよね。それってちょっぴり悲しいことだけど、でもそのおかげで私たちは楽しい毎日がずっと続くように努力することを覚えたんだよ。
そうだな。
だからケイチくんが楽しい日々がいつまでも続かないかもしれないって思うのは、決して悪いことじゃないと思うよ。
Music is being somber again. It's not a bad thing. Okay.
例えば、明日突然火山が大爆発して私たちが全
You
員
know,
死んじゃ
Rena,
う
I'm
とする。
glad that me and you sometimes have these thoughts as well. Like, I sometimes just think, what if, like, a meteor just crashed into Earth tomorrow, you know? Like, that's... and then I think about that, stuff like that, and then that's how I decide to live my life. You know? Just imagining, what if tomorrow a meteor just crashed into Earth, or some, like, world-changing event happened that caused like, basically the extinction of humankind. Being a doomer? No, not being a doomer. In fact, it's the opposite. You live life to the fullest, thinking that anything could end at any time. I don't... I'm actually the opposite of a doomer, I would think. Overall in most things.
おいおい、物騒な話だな。
例えばその大災害をケイチくんだけが生き残ったとした
I
ら
never thought about that one,
どう
though.
感じる？
That, what if you were the only person who survived that? I guess that is a potential thing.
どうって。
I imagine myself being that sole survivor in the ruins of Hinamizawa. Rubble and the bodies of friends lying in heaps at my feet. It was such an abhorrent sight. But was it sadder that all my friends had died? Or was it sadder that I couldn't have died with them? I didn't know which, but I'd probably cry a
胸が
lot.
張り裂けるだろうな。まず泣くと思う。
そしてこう思うんじゃないかな。
Keiichi, but that's not very man-like to cry. Come on, man. I expected better of
こ
you.
うなることが運命だったなら、
Because you're a
昨日まで
man,
の
aren't
日を
you?
もっともっと楽しく、悔いなく過ごせばよかったって。
I didn't want to consider such horrible events to be my destiny. But
思うだろうな。
楽しい毎日がいつか終わるものなら、それがいつかなんて誰にもわからない。だったら、たとえ明日そうなっても悔いがないよ
so
う
true,
に、
Rena.
精一杯楽しく生きるのが正解じゃないのかな。
そうだな。
I'm really liking Rena more and more and more as like I talk to her. I do still think she is the like. I mean, I haven't seen how the Rika and Satoko acts when they go like, I guess I don't even know, like schizo mode, but I still think Rena is the scariest person out of the people we've seen so far, which is only me on Rena really, and I guess Shion to some extent, but I don't even know that actually was Shion. But she's definitely growing on me more and more as a character. I like how level-headed she is, and she like actually looks at stuff very like I like her outlook on how she sees stuff.
多くの人たちは日々の幸せに飽食してるよ。今日と同じ明日が訪れると信じきってるから。
What's the song here?
今日できることを明日に送る。
Electroman Adventures slowed reverb. Yeah, let's turn off the music. Let me remember to turn that on after. And so we're not sitting in silence.
今日してやれる優しさを明日に送ってしまう。
Okay. Rena was usually cheerful and silly, but right now she wasn't like that at all. She was taking my troubles seriously. It was a little
で
reassuring.
も、圭一くんはそれに気づけた。
Okay.
それはとても素敵なことだと思う。だからその不安な気持ち、大切にしてもいいと思うの。
この不安を大切に？
そう。明日には大災害でみんな死んじゃうかもしれない。
Oh, this, They leave the kindness. Okay.
だから今日、みんなにいっぱい優しくしよう。
Yeah, I think
本
that's
当
fair.
に週末が訪れた時、後悔しないために。
レナは実践してるのか？明日みんなが死んじゃっても後悔しないようにさ。
It was such a hyperbolic conversation, but Anna just gave me a nonchalant nod of her head.
レナは、楽しい毎日が、たった一日を境に終わってしまうことを知ってるから。今日が楽しくても、明日も楽しい保証なんかないって知ってるから。
Okay. So I wonder why things are getting so... It feels like things are getting so serious already. And the Watanagashi hasn't even happened. This is definitely feels like the most serious chapter. Like the other two before Watanagashi was like very joking and fun and all that. But it seems like this is getting serious very early on.
生きてるよ。精一杯。
It seemed like Rena perfectly understood all the anxiety I couldn't put into words. And on top of that, like a reliable teacher, she showed me what to do. Oh. Hey, Keiichi Maibara. There's no need to cry now?
ゆうべ、里子の夢を見た気がするんだ。どんな夢だったかは思い出せないけど、朝からずっと不安で。
さとこちゃんの元気な顔を見れたら安心するつもりだった。かな？
She was right on the money. If everyone had been there with smiles on their faces this morning, then the murk in my heart would have definitely been blown to smithereens.
じゃあ、さとこちゃんが来たら優しくしてあげることだね。いつもの悪ふざけでも一向に構わない。楽しく過ごすことができるなら。
Yeah, true. As long as you're having fun. So that even if these fun days come to an end, I'd have no regrets. I couldn't tell if what Rena had told me had been comforting or just made me more anxious. But it was enough to make me think that if I saw Satoko again, I'd be honest with her. And we're never gonna see her again. Rest in peace, Satoko. The music back on. Lunchtime arrived with everyone pushing their desks together like always. Satoko wasn't here. Despite that, we had bento boxes for 5 lined up on our desks. Rika-chan had made a bento for Satoko too.
さとこ、お昼までには来るはずだったの？
Told me the Delphine to no Keiichi. So she kind of, right? But this is how I explained it. I agree that Keiichi is very good at persuading people. Okay? Dainen has already heard this, but she still explains it this way. Okay? I agree that Keiichi is very good at persuading people, but sometimes that persuasion can be used for like really, really bad, like just really annoying things. Like the example that I use, like, I mean, obviously there was the entire thing with Kameda that was like, that was really good what he did. Like he obviously persuaded him really well. But if you look at chapter 2, the entire scene with Tomita and Okamura and how it was like with Rika and Satoko, him explaining, like persuading them using that, like I really dislike that entirely. But I do agree that the persuading thing is good. So that has risen a bit. But what has mainly changed, Keiichi is still in the exact place as before, but someone is now under him. The new character that got added was Irie. And holy, that guy sucks so much. I hate him. I do not like when that guy opens his mouth. Continually, I feel lost. Basically, it's this guy. If you hold his hand, you held out his hand and he like nutted right in front of your face. Because you held his hand. Because he was fantasizing about something else. That's basically what you need to know about the guy, Z. Rika-chan was clearly acting strangely. We were talking to her, but it felt like she was too far away to hear us. I'd never seen Rika-chan so downcast. I guess that couldn't be me. So the rest of us started feeling down too. And they're all underage, by the way. Like, Ide was talking about marrying Satoko, who's 12 years old. And the guy's like, I don't even know, but I'm assuming in his 30s. Hey, Rena. I understood what she had said before pretty well. When we were together, we were supposed to have lots of fun, so we wouldn't have any regrets if the world ended tomorrow. And yet, while I just resolved myself to do it, now we can't all be together. What the hell? Probably, yeah. I could honestly see that. Because it was so sudden, wasn't it? I mean, yesterday was fun, so who could believe it? It all end today. No volcanoes had erupted, and no earthquakes or fires had happened either. The cicadas were making the same noises they did yesterday, and the sun remained bright in the sky. It was the same normal day as always. So then, why? As I pondered, Rena's chopsticks reached in front of my face and then stole the fried chicken out of my bento.
みんなが取らないからレナがもらうね。おいしい。
Rena tossed the entire piece into her mouth and began munching on it, her expression one of bliss.
と、おじさんとしたことがレナに先生を許すとはね。よっしゃ。おじさんはこのプチハンバーグをもらうよ。
みえ、僕のおかずがなくなってしまうのです。
Rika-chan, also behind the curve, smiled again and went for someone else's bento. As I sat there, dazed on how quickly everyone had changed, Rena sent a wink over towards me. Come on, Keiichi-kun. Live life to the fullest. That way, if a volcano erupts tomorrow, it'll be okay.
冗談じゃねえ。最後の弁当が梅干しとご飯だけになってたまるか。それ、俺はミートボールをいただくぞ。
I stuffed the meatball into my mouth and constructed a clumsy smile. I played along as if trying to fool myself, but as I did it, it rapidly became less and less of an act. Satoko still wasn't here, but at some point we had regained our lively lunchtime. We had fun, we smiled, and we fooled around. Thanks, everyone. This was definitely the best thing to do. This way, when Satoko suddenly dropped by, we could welcome her with our best smiles. The more I smiled, the more I felt the anxiety from this morning clearing away.
笑う角に福来たるっ ってことわざあったよな。
A proverb? Keiichi knows proverbs?
あるね。それが事実ならおじさんは四六時中笑い転げてるよ。
レナは本当だと思うな。毎日笑ってれば毎日が楽しいよ。レナがいいことを言いますです。
じゃあ試してみるか。
Everyone took a deep breath and brought their faces together, locking shoulders. And then... Why did all their laughs sound so fake? And then Keiichi's only sounded like his re-laugh. Everyone laughed uproariously from their stomachs, trying to laugh at all the bad stuff accumulating in them. By the time our bento boxes were empty, everyone was right as rain. The club had beans that made people fall in love, and they made Irie fall in love with Chie or something. Honestly, I can kind of see that. I feel like that actually, is kind of understandable. Having heard our friendly banter, Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun walked up and timidly spoke to us.
前原さん。
They had a big brawl over who gets the last beans. And who did they want to give the beans to?
楽しくお話中、申し訳ないんですけど、ちょっとお力をお借りしたくて。
They grinned dryly and scratched their
なんだよ
heads.
一体。テストの対策法は以前教えただろ。
What are you talking about,
ちなみ
Keiichi?
に千恵先生が授業中と含み笑いを教科書で隠した時が次のテスト範囲だ。
そうなんですか？
I thought you mean curry? That's not what we're here for, said Tomita-kun, elbowing Okamura-kun. He always says chili? Really? Maybe it's like the more American thing. Like if Chie was American, it would probably be chili, but she's Japanese, so it's curry. You've never had curry before, Surplus? Like, there's so many different types of curry. There's Thai curry, there's Indian curry, there's Japanese curry. There's like literally dozens of different curry. And then even in the types of curries, there are different types of the curries in the country. They didn't give them powers either. Everyone could just fly suddenly. Oh, okay. How do you even describe curry? Let's look up the I don't even, Here, this is curry. Like, I don't know what to say. Oh, not AI mode, please. Curry is a dish with spicy sauce or dry flavoring. Like, I don't know how to, I don't know how to explain curry. It's just such an abstract thing. Like, it's used with, you start with curry powder. Like, this is it, yeah. This is Korean curry. I'm like shocked you've not heard of what curry is.
前原さんなら身長高いからなんとかなるんじゃないかと思って。
ほう。
I've been translating curry into chili when reading Higurashi. I won't like, damn. That's wild.
先輩に物を頼むからには何か見返りがあるんだろうな。俺は高いぜ。簡単に買収できると思うなよ。
Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun conversed for a short time, then gave their reply.
では前原さんには授業中に居眠りができる権利を与えましょう。
We were thinking you might be able to reach it since you're tall. We'll give you the right to take a nap during class? How do they manage to do
それ
that?
でどうです？
なんだそりゃ。授業中に寝るのは俺の勝手だろ。なんでお前らに権利をもらわなくちゃならんのだ。
そんなことないですよ。今度は前原さんが居眠りしたら全部先生に言いつけることにしますから。
That's a good one. That's honestly a good one.
うまいうまい
Satoko and Daybreak can shoot fireworks from her fingers. What are the other powers? Like, what's everyone else's powers?
こいつらとんでもない交渉の仕方を覚えやがって。
すみません。ちょっとした冗談っす。
Or she has Ki Blast or something. Does everyone have a different type of... Oh, okay, Ki, okay, and can fly. Is it lore accurate? Is this what they can do in this game?
ほらほらゲイちゃんおとなしく後輩たちの脅迫に屈したら
And now Mio was getting on my nerves. Suddenly it came to me and I took Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun's hands.
わかった。俺の降参だ。ボールを取ってやるから、居眠りの権利を俺にくれ。
まあ。
見ろミオン。俺はちゃんと権利をもらったぞ。
Her laugh is getting on
でも
my
お前はもらってないよな。富田君、岡村君、ミオンが居眠りしたらすぐにチクれ。いいな。
Rena and Rika-chan began to cackle at Keiichi-kun's victory. And I wanted to see Mion's reaction. Come on, they're really not going to show that? Chapter 8, Oishi comes in sprint. That makes so much sense! Yeah, I want to see that. Wait, maybe I should just read Chapter 8 right now and skip to it, because I want to see that. All their laughs are perfect. Mion's normal laugh I like, but I do not like when she's doing her, like, evil laugh, whatever that is meant to be. Wasn't sure how the ball managed to get stuck up there, but it was planted firmly in the school's building's second floor
そ
gutter.
の棒を貸せ。俺なら多分届く。よいしょっと。
I took a bamboo pole and poked the ball with it. Damn, it's hard. Come on!
あ、取れた。取れましたよ、前原さん。どうもありがとうございました。
The ball rolled down the gutter and fell down behind the school building. My underclassmen ran over in that direction, leaving me by myself. Mission complete, I guess. It's too bad Fred Durst wasn't able to stop him. Fred Durst is in Chapter 8 as well? Like, I'm sorry. I have to just read Chapter 8 now. Like, there's... Like, yeah, like, kind of spoilers. Jeez, guys. There was still a lot of time left until lunch break was over. I guess I should go back to the classroom. I'd absorb myself in a silly conversation with everyone and wait for afternoon classes. Just when I thought that and turned around towards the entrance, someone suddenly called out to me.
どうもどうも。お昼休み中すみませんね。
It was a middle-aged man I didn't know. Or maybe I'd passed by him a few times and seen his face, but I didn't know him. Well, speaking of Oishi, when his half-smile deepened, something within me shuddered with fear. There was no basis for that, no reason, but I shuddered. I was somewhat confused about these emotions, not quite understanding them myself. There was one thing I could say, though. Nobody but teachers and students should be at the school. This person shouldn't be here. I felt less of a tremble and more of a sense of dread, like a caterpillar, brilliantly colored in garnish. Bilious greens were crawling across my forehead. A feeling of disgust that neither itchy nor gross could describe the frizzly, dreadful hair rubbed against my brow. I didn't even want to see his face. I wanted to jump backwards and run away. An unpleasant feeling for which I didn't even know the cause. The other side of myself has nothing but questions. Hey, what are you doing? What are you disgusted by? This is the first time you met him. It's rude to hate someone for no reason. No answers were coming. I held my silence, waiting, a damp sweat running down my forehead. When he saw that, Oishi thought maybe he was being intimidating and gave me a relaxed smile.
ああ、失礼しました。怪しいもんじゃないんですよ。私、沖宮警察署から参りました。大石と申します。あれ、手帳どこかな。あれ参ったな。ありゃ
What is he doing? He fished through various pockets and finally found his police ID and showed it to me, grinning dryly. He may have been trying to use those clumsy-seeming actions to ease my anxiety, but I could definitely say it didn't work. Why was I this nervous? There was a reason, of course. If I wanted today to be the same as before, then today didn't need someone who hadn't been here. back then. The fact that a man who wasn't here yesterday showed up today meant that today would be a different day than those before it. That would mark the end of the fun and happy days. I gulped and erased that ominous conclusion from my mind. Calm down, Keiichi Maibara. It's just an old guy who looks kind of perverted and came from the police department. No good deciding that the fun times are over. He just came here because of his job. Yeah, just for his job. If he's working, then he would normally go to the teacher's lounge, right? The fact that he spoke to me, yes, it must have been weird to ask where it was.
職員室をお探しですか？なら、あそこの昇降口から入って。
I didn't want to look at this man for another second, so I started pushing things along. Oishi, however, didn't seem to have interest in the teacher's lounge.
ああ、いえいえ。職員室にはそんなに用事はないんです。それより、お友達を呼んでもらいたいんですが、お願いできますかね？
お友達？誰です？
Satoko Hojo.
女の子です。北条聡子さんを呼んできてもらえ
Oh,
ませんか？
sorry. It's opposite. It's Japanese. They do say the last name first. My consciousness grew faint, like I was about to pass out. Yes, my anxiety was realized. The dreadful, disgusting caterpillar was looking at me, about to crawl into my ear. Its frizzy, dreadful hair was touching my ear cavity. That's how bad it felt.
警察が、聡子に何の用ですか？
いえいえいえ、大した用事じゃないんです。2、3聞きたいことがありまして、ご協力をいただければ嬉しいんですがね。
Why? Why of all people was it Satoko? Why would a police officer come here in the middle of the day for something that wasn't important? This man was strange. I could smell it, and it smelled bad. Just a whiff of it made me want to grimace. I knew that this man couldn't possibly be here to deliver her lost wallet or anything. I couldn't imagine what he needed from Satoko, but it had to be something unpleasant. My throat stung with burning pain, burned like a parched, creviced wasteland. The wasteland broke apart deep in my throat and broke out from words deep in my mind.
あんたに用はあっても、聡子にはないと思います。
Keiichi! Like, why can't you just say... this man is the most suspicious acting person in the world, and for what reason? For what reason? You literally just need to say, Satoko didn't show up to school today, and then he would leave. Like, what...
帰ってくれませんか？
Well, she probably hadn't expected that reply. He stood there surprised for a few moments. I did as well. I hadn't thought words like that could ever come out of my mouth. Things might still work out. The guy may have shown out of the blue, but if I drove him off, maybe I could make sense that it never happened. If I could do that, then I could get back. The peace we had until yesterday, I could get it back.
これは手厳しいな。あなた、聡子さんのマネージャーさんですかな？アポイントメントがないと面会は叶いませんか？
話がしたいだけなら、電話ですればいいじゃないですか。日中、学校にまで押しかけてくるなんて、明らかに異常です。
Dude, these past 2 chapters, Keiichi interacting with Oishi-san has really pissed me off. Like, oh my gosh, dude. We'll see what happens chapter 3 later, but we'll see. Breaking through a dam would have been the perfect analogy to use. Why didn't I like this man? This man shouldn't have been here. I need to make it so this man wasn't here. Childish, selfish emotions bubbled up from the depths of my mind, and they came out of my mouth just as it had been formed. Not liking this guy was my own problem, but to say things so bluntly to him, even I thought was crazy.
ありゃ、いちいち正論な方ですね。
I've never seen him make this face before either.
苦手なんだよな。
Oishi grinned and scratched his wetty throat. Even as he feigned stupidity, I could tell he was irritated. He's a scary adult, Dylan, and fat too, terrifying. I guess so. I guess you're right. Keiichi Maibara, looking for a fight for this old... Why am I looking for a fight with this old policeman here? It's not like he brought the gift of misfortune with him all wrapped in paper, right? Right. It wasn't like he had brought a package of misfortune with him and he was asking me to sign here, please. Rationally speaking, I understood all that. So then why was I so... Finally, I outlasted Oishi-san in a game of silence and a game of big sigh. The near dressed of a few of my female underclassmen running nearby.
もしもし、君たち、ちょっといいですかな。北条聡子さんを呼んできてほしいんですがね。
My underclassmen tried to smile and reply, but they noticed the oddly stiff air atmosphere around me and seemed hesitant to give a quick answer.
いませんか？ 北条聡子さんは。
北条さんは今日はお休みですけど。
休み。
His face remained smiling, but his tone was clearly one of ill humor. Such conspicuous spite caused my underclassmen who had answered honestly to cringe in fear.
そうですか。いやはやいやはや。これはついてないです。
He was smiling broadly, but the way he laughed didn't make me feel any better at all. When he noticed that his laughter wasn't getting anyone to laugh with him, he immediately stopped.
で、君たち、ここにいるお兄さんは、なんて名前か教えてくれますか？
He grabbed the girls by the shoulder so they wouldn't run away and crouched down to address them at eye level. The girls flinched away from the sharp, piercing light in his eyes. In exchange for their release, they didn't resist and told him my name.
ほう。前原圭一さんですか。
He said my full name. That was all he said, and yet I couldn't help but shudder. It was like he had grabbed me by the collar just with those words.
あなた、ひょっとして例の前原屋敷の御曹司。お父さん、高名な芸術家さんなんですってね。年に2回ほど東京の大展覧会に出展されてるそうじゃないですか。
Do they? I didn't even...
どんな
Did
立
we know
派
that
な絵
before?
を描かれるかは存じませんがね。
I don't think we even know
お
either.
母さんも知的そうな方じゃないですか。高学歴って聞きましたよ。どこぞの女子大を出られてるそうじゃないですか。あの年の女性で女子大でなんてすごいです
It's
よ。
amazing for someone that age to have graduated from a girls' university. Is she very young or something?
ひょっとしてお母さん、両家のお嬢さんなんじゃないですか。なんて噂が立ってるせいか。冷たい人だ。
I do think
なん
that,
て
like
噂が
I've said
立て
this,
られてる
his
なんて
parents has
ご存知
something like to do with what's happening. Like the fact that they keep bringing up his parents in this chapter as well, like signals to me even more. But I've always thought like it's just weird how they omit some stuff with his parents.
町内会の会合
Yes, that is a very
最
fat
初の
me.
一回以外は
Z.
出てないでしょう。
She only went to the very first name.
そういうのっていけないんですよね。こういう土地ではご近所付き合いをないがしろになんかできませんよ。
I don't like that. He looks too close to Epstein. What do you, Surples and Diane, what do you think about that? A sense of eeriness slithered up my spine. That was my first experience of true terror. I couldn't believe it felt this terrible for someone you just met to know everything about you already. Ueshi clamped onto my shoulders and brought his eyes close to peer into mine.
こういう土地ではね、敵は作らない方が絶対にいいですよ。さもないと。
Ow. Ueshi dug into my shoulders with inhuman strength. Dude, this guy's like, imagine like you're 60 and you're doing this to a 15-year-old, like, right? Like, I'm pretty sure that's how old Keiichi is, right? I can't imagine that in good taste. Like, an officer would be wanting to do that.
思わぬところで不利益を受けるかもしれません。因果応報という言葉もありますよ。風が吹けば桶屋が儲かるの正反対です。妙なところで買った恨みが信じられないところで返ってくることがあるかもしれません。
Grudges? Wait, what did he say? Grudges born in strange places could come back to you in ways you wouldn't believe. Like Mion with the doll.
そうなったら嫌でしょ誰だって恨み
Was
な
there
んか買い
siren
たくないんです。
This is the freaky sound.
敵を作らないに越したことなんかない。どうしました？肩がだいぶ凝ってますね。ちょっと揉んであげましょうか。ほら。
Dude, what is he doing? Why does it sound like he's stretching rubber right now? Ow, 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 ow. This man wasn't just strong. It was like He knew exactly where to press to make me feel pain. Only 4 or 5 fingers were on my shoulder, and yet the pain made me want to bend over backwards. A few of the girls from my class were pretty shaken up but didn't seem to want to help me. We weren't sure if they should go call the teacher. As for me, I couldn't take time to wait until the teacher got here. It hurts.
もうそれくらいになさってください。
Okay, Irie.
痛がってますよ。
え
Behind Oishi-san, someone. To my disbelief, it was Coach.
おや、これは入江先生じゃありませんか。
Dr. Irie?
ご無沙汰しておりますね。
He should have said 6 or 7 fingers on his shoulder. I think there would be a lot more issues if Keiichi said 6 or 7 fingers were on his shoulder. I think than the fingers itself on his shoulder. If Oishi had that many fingers. Discomforted by Coach's sudden appearance, Oishi laughed scornfully. The vice on my shoulder, however, remained as strong as ever.
挨拶はいいです。それよりも、前原くんを離してあげてください。
Oishi smiled daringly and glared straight at Coach. He didn't release me in the meantime, of course.
先生のところにも後でお伺いしようと思っていたんですよ。いつもお忙しいとかで、ろくろくお話ができませんからね。
ええ、お望みとあれば、いくらでもお話を伺いますよ。でもその前に、令状をお持ちになってください。職務質問と任意同行は拒否できますからね。
Coach didn't display a shred of the weird behavior he's shown at the baseball game and barbecue. He stared steadily at Oishi and fought so that he would release me. His chances were terribly bad, of course. Compared to the relaxed Oishi, Coach seemed like he was being defeated mentally. It made sense. Coach had a somewhat narrow stature, but Oishi's body was packed with Is it? Is it packed with muscle? Is it really packed with muscle? Oh, here they made him packed with muscle. But he also looks pretty, like, much older here. It wasn't even a contest, but Coach was fighting for me without taking a step back. Beads of sweat formed on his face, and though he paled, he was fighting for my sake. Why does classic Irie look like that? I don't know. They make him look, like, kinda cool. I think the weird thing is that his glasses look offset, but other than that, it's like, he looks so ugly. I guess, yeah, it's just the proportions are a bit wrong. Suddenly, Oishi laughed and let go of my shoulders. My body exhausted, I fell right onto my
前原
backside.
くん、大丈夫ですか？ああ、くそ。いってててて。
I rubbed my shoulders where Oishi-san had latched onto them. The pain from falling over went away quickly, but the pain was lingering.
大丈夫ですか？前原くん。ひどいことを。くそ。いててて。
ちょっと肩を揉んだだけじゃないですか。前原さんも少し大げさすぎですよ。男の子はもう少し我慢強くなる。
Keiichi, we've already established you are a man. He's right. He's right. I wanted to retort, but I couldn't think of anything witty.
肩は上がりますか？痛みますか？痛みが強いようなら、ちゃんと診察をした方がいい。とにかく、保健室へ。
Coach lent me his shoulder and walked beside me.
大げさですね。私に限って傷が残るような真似をするわけがないじゃないですか。ねえ。
As a man, exactly.
私、これでも現職の警察官なんですよ。
Where's Pig Destroyer Mion when we need her?
さあ、どんなご用があったか存じませんが、もうご用がないならお帰りを。今日のことは、今度所長さんに直接抗議しますから、 そのつもりでいてください。
それは困りますね。
Oishi-san waved his hand sarcastically, pivoted around, and headed to the car parked by the school gates. And without turning back around, he got in and started the engine. Damn it. Who the hell was he, damn it?
あいつは、大石クランドという
Kuraudo.
刑事です。乱暴者でね。
And a
村中
hooligan.
に嫌われている男です。前原さんも用心した方がいい。
So whereas before, like, okay, first time, we were, like, he was on our side, and we were on his side, like, we liked him. Second time, it was, like, neutral. It was, like, we didn't like him, we didn't hate him. He was, like, more on the hate side, but it's, like, we didn't hate him. It was, like, we mildly disliked him. Now it seems we're going on the side of, screw this guy Oishi. This guy sucks. Everyone hates him, you should too. Kuraudo Oishi. Just like I thought my gut instinct wasn't wrong. He would be the one to bring unhappiness, misfortune, something that would ruin our peace. You could say in both first chapters he was using Keiichi. Definitely. I mean, no, it's there's no doubt without a fact that he was using Keiichi, right? But it's the only thing he can do. Like, obviously, if he was in his position, like if you look at his perspective, he has to use Keiichi because nothing he does would like, it's completely out of his control to do anything. All these fun days can't possibly end just because some guy like him showed up. I won't accept it. Coach seemed to be familiar with the school, so he brought me to the nurse's office without much trouble. The girls from my class came along as well, looking worried. Our teacher and the principal, having noticed the disturbance, came and see what was the matter.
前原くん、どうしたんですか？怪我でも。前原さん、さっき校庭で変なおじさんに。
Coach gently interrupted the girls, trying to explain.
いえ、ちょっと転んでひねったみたいです。
What?
大丈夫だとは思いますけど、念のためと思いまして、ね。
Well, the thing is, part of the reason why Oishi's seemed like he couldn't care less was because in chapter 1, Oishi told him some information and Keiichi was like actually cooperating. So Oishi did care for him. In chapter 2, Oishi asked him like, "Oh, where were you the night of the, like, you know, the night of the murders?" Basically is what he asked. And Keiichi said, "Oh no, I never saw them." And Oishi-san knew he was lying. So he was like just very, like, just like as a suspect, Oishi was very sus of him since then. And like, that's when he was just like, okay, this guy's a liar. He doesn't want to find out the truth and all that stuff.
保健室をちょっとお借りいたします。
入江先生、よろしくお願いしますぞ。
The principal gave him a deep bow. It looked like Coach was acquainted with the adults at school. He slid open the doors to the nurse's office, but there wasn't a nurse in there or anything. I'd figured. I'd never seen anyone but Chie-sensei and the principal working here. Coach didn't seem to mind the fact that there was no nurse and quickly made his way into the nurse's office. Yeah, that's at least how it feels like. And here, Keiichi just outright lied to him. For the reason, I don't know why, but Keiichi outright lied to him here. Or sorry, not lied to him. Like, okay. Keiichi didn't outright lie to him. What happened was, Keiichi didn't have to lie, but he did. And I guess that's why Oishi was mad, because he just, like, was acting combative for no reason when he literally just could have said, like, Keiichi said, I think possibly the worst thing in that situation. Is what I'm trying to say. Instructed me to sit down and started washing his hands in the sink. Oh, I get it. He's the coach for the boys' baseball team. He must be pretty used to treating wounds with first aid.
ちょっと患部を見せてもらえますか？まだ痛みます。いえ、もう全然痛みません。本当に大丈夫です。
I rolled up my shirt and showed him my shoulder. No bruise, not even nail marks. And yet it hurt so much I thought my shoulders would be crushed. Even the pain had disappeared without a trace. But not so much as a bruise remained.
それだけあいつが慣れているということですよ。今度会った時は挑発しないことです。あいつを怒らせて得をすることは何もありませんからね。自宅に制服警官を連れて押しかけてきたら、ご家族だっていい気持ちはしないでしょ。それは 確かに。
しかし、何があったんです？前原さんがあいつと喧嘩になるなんて。
あいつ、里子に用事があるとか言ってきて。
え？里子ちゃんにですか？
Coach's gaze lowered and his expression clouded a bit. Somehow that gesture seemed to be saying Oishi was bound to come to Satoko, and did, and that it was no laughing matter. Coach fell silent in thought. Quietly, he took a compress out of the first aid kit and put it on me.
あの男は、まだ里子ちゃんに付きまとうつもりなんでしょうか？本当に、蛇みたいにしつこい男です。
Does he still plan on clinging to Satoko? Coach mumbled to himself.
付きまとう？あの大石っていうやつ、たびたび里子のところへ来てるんですか？
Coach didn't answer, but the lack of a denial served well enough. What on earth did the policeman, probably a detective or something, need from Satoko? What mistake had led a detective to cling to the sweetly smiling Satoko?
前原さんは、そうか、引っ越してきたばかりでしたね。
ええ、そうですけど。
お社様のたたりと、里子ちゃんの話は、少しは聞いたことがありますか？
Well, I knew a few things about it, certainly.
里子の両親がダム計画の賛成派で、転落事故で死んだのはたたりだって話ですか？
Coach smiled thinly and dryly. So you know, he said, dropping his gaze. If I recall correctly, there was an accident on a viewing point at the public park she'd gone with her family, and her parents died. And then it was just big brother and little sister. And then she was filled with Rika-chan and... Or then she was with Rika-chan and...
ご両親が亡くなった里子ちゃんと、お兄さんのさとしくんは、おじ夫婦宅に身を寄せることになりました。
え、あ、そうなんですか。
Their parents died in the accident, and Satoshi ran away, leaving only Satoko to start living with Rika-chan. I don't know that much, but this was the first time I'd heard they'd been brought to their uncle and aunt.
おじというのは、さと子ちゃんのお父さんの弟にあたる方なんですがね。残念なことに、夫婦揃って、
Oh, because he's coming to talk to
尊敬に
Satoko
値す
about
る方々ではあり
her
ませんでした。
stepmother's death. Or no, her step... What would it even be? It's her uncle. Her step-aunt? I guess step-aunt. Coach normally picked his words politely. So when he came out and said they didn't deserve respect, it made me wonder what type of people they were.
さと子ちゃんの両親がダムに賛成していたとばっちりで、おじ夫婦も村内ではとても肩身の狭い思いをしていましたからね。さと子ちゃん
Makes
たちを歓
sense, but
迎するは
it's
ずもな
not
かった
something
んで
they should
す。
take out on Satoko, but fine.
さと子ちゃんたち兄弟にとってとても辛い生活だったと聞きを読んでいます。
Bit by bit, Coach told me about the numerous agonies that the Hojo siblings had suffered at their uncle's house. As their guardians, their aunt and uncle sucked up everything belonging to their immediate family. Satoko and Satoshi were crammed into a small room, and their lives were laden with things that were miserable for both their bodies and minds. In the first place, since apparently their aunt and uncle weren't on good terms, there were no end to their fighting. And as if in revenge for that, whenever they saw Satoko or Satoshi's face, they would always find fault with them, scold them, yell at them, strike them, and take away meals as punishment.
今思い出しても、今の元気なさと子ちゃんしか知らないあなたには、土毛色の顔をして、ただ日陰でぼーっとしているだけの彼女など、想像もつかないでしょう。
So it seems like last year they were much different. I mean, we don't know about Rena, I think, because Rena moved last year, right? Or was it last year or a few years ago? I can't remember. But, Satoko was, you know, not as energetic. Mion apparently seemed to be more scared. Last year, yeah, okay. And we don't know how Rika was last year, but we're finding snippets about how everyone was last year. I couldn't imagine it, and I didn't want to. That was how I honestly felt. At the very least, Satoko wasn't like that anymore. She may have had a miserable life in the past, but it was different now. Something happened to change that life.
去年の綿流しのお祭りの夜にね、おばが死んでしまったんです。異常者にバットか何かで殴り殺されて、綿流しの祭りの夜には村の旧敵がたたりで死ぬと噂されてましたからね。この死も 単なる殺人事件としてだけでなく、お社様のたたりではないかと村中でささやかれました。
A few days later, the deviant arrested for drug use confessed to further offenses and the incident was resolved. However, though it was resolved, no one knew whether the part about it being Oyashiro-sama's curse was true or not.
おじだってひなみ沢の人間ですからね。お社様のたたりを大層怖がり、逃げ出して雲隠れしてしまったそうです。聞いた話では、沖宮あたりの
Oh yeah,
実行の中の
I
女
don't know
性
if I
宅に
finished my thought,
転がり
but
込んで
that's what he definitely came to see Satoko about, to ask
そ
about.
れで解放されたんですか？聡子たちは。
おばは死に、おじは逃げ出し、誰も兄弟をいじめる者はいなくなるはずだったんですが、まるでその後を継ぐように、あの男が執拗に現れるようになったんです。
あの男？
The coach then lowered his voice just a bit as if being aware of his surroundings.
大石です。
大石、さっきの男。
The events that just occurred came back to me. The hard to describe ominous sensation I'd felt from him came back to me.
あいつは少しおかしいんですよ。お社様のたたりをめぐる一連の事件はみんな解決しているのに、あいつだけがそれを認めていないんです。
Accept it. The incidents were all solved and a detective supposedly with the police department didn't accept that.
あいつが近づく人間には必ず何かよからぬことが起こると言われています。ひなみ沢ではね、大石のことをお社様の
Oishi is Oyashiro-sama's... What would it be trying to say? But then Urena was the one saying that. I'm trying to think back. Because Mion only showed up in chapter 2 at the end and killed him after Oishi was there. The door flew open with a rattle and Mion came rushing in. Rena and Rika-chan came running in a few steps behind her. And then Tomita-kun, Okamura-kun, and a few more of our classmates.
ケイちゃん、大石にやられたの？怪我を？
落ち着いてミオンさん。怪我はありませんよ。念のため疾走しているだけです。
ケイチくん、本当に大丈夫かな？みんなに聞いたら首を絞め上げられてたとか言ってて。
What? Strangled?
落ち着けよ、レナ。肩をすげえ痛く握られただけだ。ほら、あざだってないだろ。
Oh, yeah, thank you, Rika, for that insightful information.
あんたら、何やってんだよ。仲間だろ。なんでぼーっとしてたんだよ。なんでケイちゃんを助けなかったんだよ。
ごめんなさい、委員長。
Wait, I thought they were saying that it was only like a group of girls. Why is she yelling at them? Mion yelled at her classmates, baring her fangs. Tomita-kun and the others hung their heads in silence.
よせよ、ミオン。富田くんたちはその場にいなかったんだ。攻めるのはよせ。
くしょう。大石のやつ。
Mion kicked the floor with her heel a few times, her temper running hot. Our teacher, overhearing the commotion, arrived as well.
こらこらこら。保健室で騒がしくしてはいけません。委員長、みんなを連れて保健室から出なさい。
ほらみんな、もう行こう。
So it seems like everyone found out about, like, it was Oishi anyway, which makes sense because there's a lot of people there, so information was bound to get out. But why was Iria so insistent on hiding the name, though?
ケイチくんは大丈夫だって。ほら、みーちゃんも。
Min was letting her emotions get the best of her, so Rena stepped in instead and led everyone out the nurse's office. The detective from Okinomiya Station, Kuraudo Oishi. Looked like the first impression I got from him hadn't been mistaken. Satsuko's absence had amplified the vague apprehension I'd felt since yesterday. And Oishi's appearance basically sealed the deal.
さて、じゃあ私はこれで失礼します。もともと千恵先生に用事があってきたんです。
あ、 用事があって学校に来たんですよね。俺なんかのために。どうもすみませんでした。
Don't be so humble, he said, smiling easily.
おかげで役得と言いますか。
Oh, here we go.
前原くんのきめ細やかなお肌も
There we go.
存分に
I
堪能できましたよ。
knew something like that was coming. Like the second Keiichi said, like, "Oh, he took off his shirt." Yeah, it's like something like that was coming. We knew.
はふー。
With the usual for Coach anyway. Parting words, he instead continued.
では、失礼します。大した怪我ではありませんが、患部を揉んだりするようなことは、くれぐれも避けてください。もしも高熱が出たり、腫れたりするようなことがあったら、すぐに連絡してくださいね。そんなことはないと思いますが。
あ、そうだ、監督。さっき、みんなが来る直前、何か言ってましたよね。大石のことを、お社様のなんとかって。
As he was about to leave the nurse's office, Coach placed a hand on the door and stopped.
ああ、お社様の使いですよ。
Servant.
もちろん、悪口ですがね。
But why? Why do people not like him then? If he's Oyashiro-sama's servant. And they're supposed to be worshipping Oyashiro-sama. Why would they not like him then?
お社様の使い？
前原さんは、ひなみ沢で毎年、綿流しの夜に起こる、ひなみ沢村連続開始事件。
連続開始？
Now that I thought about it, I just need to remember overhearing Mion or someone in class talking about it like a ghost story. On the festival day in June, one person would always die, and another person would be spirited away, but they seem to call it Onikakushid here. What a fine story that was. Figured they made it up to scare me, but it was true?
一体、どこの誰が言い出したのかも、いつの頃からか、大石のことを、お社様の使いと呼ぶようになりました。
なぜですか？
あの男が、その年のたたりの犠牲者を決めている、と、噂されているからです。
Decides the sacrifices for the curse every year. Whenever June came around, Oishi would start paying frequent visits to Hinamizawa.
亡くなったり消えたりする人たちの多くが、あの男の執拗な訪問を受けているからです。
4 years ago, it was known that the victim of the dismemberment, rumored to be the sacrifice, had been seeing Oishi numerous times leading up to the incident. The sacrifices 3 years ago were Satoko's parents. Right before their accidental deaths, Oishi had apparently visited their homes. The one who disappeared 2 years ago was Rika-chan's mother. And again, people know that before she vanished, Oishi had been talking to her extremely frequently. The one who disappeared last year, Satoko's older brother, Satoshi. Satoshi too had apparently been approached by Oishi many times before he vanished. And then this time Oishi was trying to contact Satoko?
冗談じゃないです。
噂ですよ、前原さん。そういう噂がある、というだけです。
I said that because of the rumors Oishi being Oyashiro-sama's servant, whereas contacting someone foreshadowing who would be the sacrifice that year. It was because the ominous hatred I felt towards Oishi was becoming more substantiated, more real.
さとこ、今日、欠席したじゃないですか。
え？そうなんですか？
That looked like news to Coach. I thought he might have known why Satoko was absent today, but...
では、失礼します。前原くんも、早くみんなのところに行って、安心させてあげるといいでしょう。
そうですね。そうします。
Clatter. Coach left the nurse's office and headed towards the teacher's lounge. Hi, Teacup. How are you doing? I wonder... This is the first time we've ever got that perspective of Oishi. Oh, wow. Okay, that was pretty early. No wonder Mion was Oishi meeting Keiichi and getting hurt was a real big deal to them. Yeah, definitely. Also, that was a pretty fast chapter. This video is celebrating a week's worth of birthdays. Damn! Nice, though. How was that? Research notes. The Hojo family. Every year, Oyashiro-sama's curse claims 2 victims. Are you going to do a second segment tonight? If people want to do that, are you going to continue one more? Do you guys want me to continue one more? Because I mean, if like, I don't see it. If you guys are planning to leave soon, like, you know, then, you know, I don't see a point in it. But if you guys like plan to stay, I could do one more. Please, if it's no problem. Yeah, sure, I'll do one more. Problem. Okay. All right, sounds good. Too many birthdays? What, a birthday every single day, Teacup? This means that with 4 years in a row, there have been 8 now, but it's worthwhile to note half of them have been members of this family. Note, the curse on the second year, a certain falling accident involved the death of Hojo, a dam proponent, and the disappearance of his wife. Basically, I see. Well, that's pretty cool. How'd you celebrate the different birthdays? She was pronounced dead the following year after being considered to have vanished under perilous circumstances. The curse on the 4th year involved the death of the Hojo siblings' aunt, who was then their foster mother, and the disappearance of the elder brother. The Hojo family is a poor one, and it's hard to say Mr. Hojo's job went very well. Apparently, upon re-employment via family connections, there was a plan for them to return to the home of the mother side of the family. For Mr. Hojo, the eviction due to Hinamizawa's dam project and the payment of a large amount of compensation money was essentially a windfall. 27th was mine, 28th was your besties, 29th was another friend, February 1st was my dad. Damn, nice! Well, happy birthday to you and to the people you care about. Mr. Hojo actively embraced the Ministry of Construction's negotiations from an early stage and was selected as a representative of the dam proponents. It was rumored he had been bought out by the Ministry of Construction for doing so, but the truth is unknown. However, the dam proponents were in vastly outnumbered minority. In addition, as the Sonozaki family strengthened its own foundation and promised support against the dam, all of the proponents, save for Mr. Hojo, switched over to the anti-dam side. Okay. At this point, Hinamizawa was completely united against the dam, and Mr. Hojo was held to ridicule as a stooge of the dam project's proponents. That's a cute Cuphead emote. He was, essentially, used as a scapegoat for the anti-dam coalition. In the end, the dam project collapsed with Oyashiro-sama's curse and the dismemberment incident. But this one, oh, your classic drawing, yes. Our punishment towards the bitter enemies support the dam project continues to this day. Tips are already, they're so boring when you've already read Higurashi. Why? Why just specifically the tips? There are not many left who support the dam project, nor who had a negative reputation at the time. If there were any candidates left for the curse, it's the husband of the housewife who was beaten to death last year, Teppei Hojo, and Mr. Hojo's daughter, Satoko Hojo. Strangely, these 2 are the only candidates left. Wait. Satoko also opposed the dam? This is news to me. These are the only 2 candidates left. That's why... information you already know makes sense. So that's why Mion would have killed Satoko as well. And like she didn't consider it an issue. Because Satoko is also a proponent of the dam. I guess. Or not Mion, whatever took over her. Will this year's curse come down on the 2 of them? There's more than enough value in observing them both. But it still doesn't make... Why is Tomitake and... Oh no, my pants flaking. Whatever. Getting everywhere. Okay, interesting. Rip your pants. No, this is new pants I literally bought like 8 months ago. Oishi's post memo. Oishi-san. There was a call from you from Section 4's chief, Sigeharu. Imagine wearing pants. Rip him. Why did both of you guys say to rip the pants? Apparently the slaughtered corpse in the Ojikawa River is related to the S group, as we thought. We're still verifying what happened behind the scenes, but apparently the deceased filled up dozens of self-created fictional bank accounts to their limits with money from the S group, reaching around 100 million yen. It appears there were 3 or 4 men with the former S group candidates' connections involved in this. They have already disappeared along with millions of yen. Our deceased was tortured on the point for that information, and she was clearly slaughtered as an example to others. Especially ones you just bought, you don't want to rip as a result. So, what do you recommend I wear then, Diane? If I don't wear pants, what do you recommend I wear? Apparently some real wizards chasing down the people who disappeared. They're also spreading letters to related Yakuza groups not to harbor them. There's still no evidence that Teppei Hojo is one of those people. As far as Chief Sigeharu can tell, he hasn't been told anything. Blow up! I don't wear anything, I just blow up. That's what I do. I just self-combust. He was her pimp, but she didn't trust him at all. Wait. Okay, so it's related to Sonozaki family. Okay, yeah, so she was pimped out to be placed. Okay, makes sense. My intrusive thoughts won, my bad. So you want me to blow up? That's what your intrusive thoughts, that I should blow up. Teppei Hojo has left the apartment in Okinomiya and has returned to his former residence in Hinamizawa. Interesting. Very cool. I shall not answer. Okay. Damn. I see how it is, Teacup. I see how it is. Alright, let's continue. What have we got here now?
守りたいと思う心に嘘はなかった。大切にしたいと思う心は誰よりも強いはずだった。優しさから生まれた感情はやがて殺意へと変わり、真っ白だった思いは赤と黒で染まってゆく。それが守りたかった日常の崩壊を意味していると分かっていながら。たたり殺し。何が間違っていたのか。
Teacup, what does that
その
mean?
答えを探して、悲劇はさらに広がってゆく。
北条
Tatarigoroshi.
さんは今日もお休みですか？古出さんは何か知っていますか？
Like, if it means anything in particular that, like, is in common, or, like, if it's any words that you do know or anything, because I know it's probably not exactly a word that's used commonly, or, like, it might be some combination of words, but what does it mean? I missed it low-key? Low-key? Oh, okay. If it does mean anything, I don't know. What did it say? It's the word into the stream title. I was asking what Tatarigoroshi means. The teacher's voice wasn't critical, but Rika-chan hung her head, unable to answer, and I felt really bad for her. The teacher called Rika-chan up, and they had an exchange in hushed tones at the dais. At first, Rika-chan said that Satoko's fever had gotten worse, but everyone in the class knew it was a lie. Because it's curse killing. Oh, okay. Curse killing. Interesting. So far we've had the cotton picking festival. We've had, like 2 words. Okay. Okay, so we've had the cotton picking festival in Watanagashi. Or the cotton... What is it? Not cotton picking. That's actually a different festival that happened in human history, but we're not going to talk about that. The cotton, like, ripping festival. The cotton... I can't remember. Something festival. And then there was Demoned Away in Onikakushi. Tuno OMG! What? Am I wrong? Demoned Away, cotton drifting, now curse killing. Okay. There's a bad curse, and Kokoroshi typically means kill. Okay. Interesting. Because every day, Rika-chan brought Satoko's bento with her.
さとこちゃん、どうしちゃったんだろうね。
The only person that would know I feel is Rika, but she's not saying anything.
俺が知るかよ。
I'm the one who wants to know most of all. It was already the third day since Satoko's first absence. Ever since then, I haven't felt good. Until just last Sunday, everything had been so much fun. I'd reached out to Satoko like a real older brother, and we spent that time quietly, but warm and comfortable. So why had it suddenly been flipped over? The more I thought about it, the more I thought that the world had taken a turn for the worse ever since Oishi arrived. Thinking on it now, maybe the strange apprehensions plaguing me that night before Oishi arrived had been a sign. Kuraudo Oishi, Oyashiro-sama's servant.
くそ、そんなことあるもんか。あいつが現れたから、サトコが今年のタタリに会う役だなんて決められてたまるかよ。
Just what sort of slip-up had I committed to cause those fun times to end so suddenly? Yes, it was the day before Oishi appeared. Shion, Mion, and Rena had spoken of the curse surrounding Satoshi and his disappearance, and it was so sinister it gave me a bad premonition. Such a small thing was the slip-up that invited Oyashiro-sama's servant. It was absurd. I kept on groaning to myself that I would never accept it. Ever. I obviously wasn't the only one suppressing my feelings. Mion and Rena were too. Everyone in the class was doing it. Rika-chan knew something about Satoko's situation, but she wouldn't tell us. Rika-chan still held a calm attitude, like a cat basking in the sun. But she was being unbelievably stubborn about this whole thing. She didn't want to tell us, and that wouldn't change no matter how many times we asked her. Everyone understood that, so nobody questioned her. I feel like this is
リカ
something
ちゃんが
like...
言わないならさ、言うまで待つしかないよね。
I feel at some point of asking and her saying she doesn't know, you have to go to like the house or something. Like, I feel like at this point you're being, like, she's being incredibly suspicious, no?
逆に言わないってことは、言う必要もない程度のことかもしれないし。
There was no persuasive power in reassurance given with an anxious face like that. Mion was being taciturn and looked up in the sky with a somehow annoyed expression. I couldn't tell if she was unhappy that Rika-chan wouldn't talk about it with her own friends, or if she was concerned over Satoko's well-being. And what about me? My anxiety was suffocating me day after day. Sorry, I'm moving my mic stand, to try to get in a comfortable place so I don't need to like tilt my head too much. Because I'm standing up right now. I still have no idea what this game is about. This is on chapter 3. There's a lot happening. Basically, chapter 3... Like, okay, let me give the brief clip notes of what's happened so far. Chapter 1, we got introduced to this place. There's this cotton picking festival. We found out there are demons or whatever apparently in this village. Or actually, no, that's more chapter 2. But yeah, no, wait, there are demons in this village. There have been disappearances happening every single year. Every single year on the festival of the Watanagashi, which is the cotton drifting festival, one person dies, or one person, gets killed in a very gruesome way, and one person disappears. And yeah, basically at the end of chapter 1, we got chased down by some people freaking out. We don't know what they were, but they were like looking at demons, and we got killed. Chapter 2, we met another new character. We apparently learned one of our friends was part of the Yakuza. Chapter 2 looked like we got reincarnated again, I should say, after we got killed. And main thing is that 2 people got killed and 2 people apparently supposedly disappeared. Or actually were more people disappearing. And we found out our friend was possessed by a demon or something. And then we got killed again at the end of chapter 2. And now we're back in time before the festival again. And like different events happen. That is very, very brief what is happening. Like, that is the idea. My anxiety was suffocating me day after day. Someone could probably give a more apt description of what's going on. So right now, one of our friends is just missing and not coming to school right now. And the festival hasn't even happened yet. If someone else were looking at me, then maybe I'd look annoyed. Like Mion did. Tap, tap. Someone tapped my shoulder. It was Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun.
前原さん、ちょっといいですか？
またボールが引っかかったか？今度はお前たちで何とかしてみろよ。いつまでも先輩に頼るのは良くないぜ。
I didn't feel like going along with them, so I was a little unsympathetic with my response.
ちょっと気になる噂を聞いたんすよ。
噂？
はい。ひょっとすると、関係があるかもと思って。
Rumor. About Satsuko, they hadn't said that, but it didn't seem unrelated. They didn't want to talk in the classroom, so they pulled me behind the school building, lending further credence to that thought. The back of the school was damp and humid like always. Students didn't really come here because they wanted to. It might, however, have been the ideal location for trading rumors away from prying eyes. What's your new obsession, Teacup? Anything new, or what?
富田くん、岡村くん。その噂話って、もちろん、聡子の欠席と関係のある話なんだろうな。
関係があるかはわからないですけど、あるいは。
聡子は一体、どうしたってんだ？風邪なのか？
Still the usual? Cuphead and Transformers, or just Transformers right now?
それとも、ひょっとして、もっと重い病気か、怪我か何かで。
いえ、それが、むしろ逆で、うちのばあちゃんの話だと、昨日の昼に、うちの店に豆腐を買いに来たらしいんです。
Oh, Tomita's family runs a tofu shop at it, Okamura-kun. Okay, well that's some information we know now, that the grandmother of Tomita runs a tofu shop. Always both. I got like 3 ratchets for my birthday. That's cool. Yeah, okay, thank you. Ruben probably give it more succinctly than I could, and in a better way than I could.
買い物？
My voice sounded so stupefied that even I can tell. It was understandable. I was worried about what the grave illness or injury she had when the person herself had been out and about, shopping for tofu.
で、聡子はどうだったんだよ？
Okay, but is it actually her or is her copy?
元気そうだったのか？それとも病み上がりで、マスクでもしてたとか、松葉杖で包帯だらけだったとか。
いえ、別に、病気とか、怪我とか、
Like
そうい
how
うわ
in
け
the
じゃな
end
かっ
of
たらしいんですが。
what is it? At the end of chapter 2, we found out that Mion was apparently dead, but there was like somehow she killed Keiichi, or killed. Sorry, not Keiichi. She killed like there were apparently 2 Mions or something, right? And there was another time there was a copy of someone. Oh yeah, how apparently Tomitake and Takano had already been killed, but they were talking with Keiichi completely fine. How they're creating copies of them. So that's the copy. I should have felt, or like, yeah, something like that. I should have felt relieved that it wasn't an illness or an injury, but my anxiety wasn't going away. Because Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun's expression were looking any better.
絹ごし豆腐を1丁買っていったそうなんですが、ばあちゃんが言うには、おかしいと。
おかしい？なぜ？絹ごし豆腐を買って何が悪い？
Irritated by how roundabout they were being, I had to desperately fight that irritation from creeping into my voice.
北条とフルデって、ほら、2人暮らしで、そんなにお金持
The
ちってわけじゃない
soft
ですよ
tofu is more
ね。
expensive? Is that what he's
だか
gonna
ら、
say?
2人はいつも安い木綿豆腐しか買わないんです。一番高い絹ごし豆腐なんか、買ったことないんです。
木綿だって絹ごしだって、どっちも豆腐だろ？たまにはうまい豆腐が食いたくなっただけかもしれないじゃないか。
それは、そうですけど。
I knew how transparent I sounded right then. This wasn't anything trivial, it was some kind of important clue. Where's Urena the detective when we need her? Not the cheap, firm tofu, but the expensive, soft kind. Shopping not in the evening after school, but in the middle of the day. I can figure out what those things meant. As I thought hard about it, Okamura took his turn to speak.
次は僕っすね。これも噂なんですけど、帰ってきたらしいんですよ。
帰ってきた？何が？誰が？
北条のおじさんが。
Oh, so is Satsuko living with with her uncle? Is that the thing now? Yeah, exactly. And even Oishi was like, yeah, it makes absolutely no sense because I saw them talking with you. So it just doesn't make sense what the coroner or he doesn't doubt the coroner, but at the same time he doesn't, he believes Keiichi because he saw them. So that's why he's so, like, so confused. Right, I think Coach told me about him. Their aunt and uncle had taken them in after school and Satoshi lost their parents in an accident.
去年のお社様のたたりで怖くなって町に逃げたっていう。こいつ、ヤクザみたいな怖くて乱暴なやつで。
Oh, okay, so this year it probably is gonna be Satoko and her uncle. The fact that he's back in Hinamizawa. Everything Coach told me came back in bits and pieces. Right. The mean aunt and uncle who had tormented them all the time. I think he said that their aunt was beaten to death by the deviant and he ran away to his lover's house in Okinomiya in fear of the curse.
そいつが帰ってくると、どうしてサトコが学校を休んで、真っ昼間に絹ごし豆腐を買う羽目になるんだ？
My underclassmen clamped up and looked downwards. There must have been some big hint buried in there. Even if I didn't understand, if I told Mion or Rena about it, maybe they'd know something.
ごめんな、二人とも。せっかく好意で話を聞かせてくれたのに、なんだか問い詰めるような言い方になっちゃって。
あ、いえ、いいんすよ。北条が重病で寝たきりになってないことが分かっただけでも、ほら、儲けもんじゃないですか。
So I wonder, so I'm guessing that's why Rika is always making bento for them. That's because she doesn't live with her anymore. Since the uncle came back. I would think that might be true. But it still won't make the clouds over my mind fade away.
前原さん、ほらあれ!
Okamura-kun cried widely, pointing over my shoulder behind me. And there she is. Startled, I turned around and on the other side of the schoolyard, near the school gate, I saw a figure trudging forth. She does not look good. I burst into a run faster than I could speak. So that as quickly as possible, I could see my own eyes that she was okay.
Satoko!
Satoko seemed taken aback by me shouting and running over to her.
なんですのケイイチさん。突然大声を出して走ってくるから何事かと驚きましたわ。
バカ！俺のことなんかどうでもいいだろう。それよりどうしたってんだよ、サトコ。俺心配で心配で。
心配性ですわね。たかだか3日ですわよ。もうケイイチさんは心配性なんですから。
From listening to her, she seemed like the normal Satsuko, but I could tell she was clearly acting strangely. Let me move this. Give me a second. Pull this there. There we go. That's a bit more comfortable. Her smile was somehow forlorn, and her complexion was bad for some reason.
北条! 大丈夫だったのかよ。風邪とかじゃないのか?
Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun both expressed their concerns.
一体どうしたってんだよ。3日も。俺がどれだけ心配してたか。
ごめん遊ばせですわ。ちょっとお家のお掃除をしたりしてたんですのよ。
It's giving the house a good cleaning.
だいぶ長いこと使ってませんでしたから、もう家
So she
中
was
埃だらけで
she was
して。
forced to stay home and clean rather than go to school.
はあ？サトコ、お前何を言ってんだ？なんで家の掃除なんかで学校を休まなきゃなんないんだ？
Satsuko didn't answer me. Instead, she passed by me and headed for the entrance.
もう今はお弁当の時間ではありませんの。私はお腹が空いてますのよ。
It was certainly lunch break. I couldn't force her to stop after she told me she wanted lunch since she was so hungry.
まあいいや。リカちゃんは3日間毎日お前の弁当を持ってきてくれてるんだぜ。今日はちゃんと食べてやれそうだな。とにかく早く教室へ行こう。みんなを安心させてやろうぜ。
そうですわね。皆さんにご心配をおかけしてしまったかもしれませんわね。
Yeah, her uncle definitely has come back and has already started abusing
人
her.
気者は
That's
辛
basically
い
what's
でござい
happening.
ますわ。
I put a hand on Satsuko's shoulder and we ran to the classroom together. Up close, I was able to verify that Satsuko looked somehow weak. All this anxiety was supposed to go away when I saw her again. That's what I'd thought. But now, I actually started to have quite different fears. What the heck happened, Satsuko? Everyone in the class, of course, reacted in the same way I had. We were worried about you. I'm glad to see you well. What were you doing for 3 days? classmates showered in her in questions.
本当にご迷惑をおかけしましたわね。
As she cackled, she chowed down on the bento Rika-chan had made for her. Those in the teacher's lounge must have been informed of Satoko's arrival because our teacher sprinted into the classroom, her breathing ragged.
北条さん。
あら先生、3日間もご心配をおかけしましたわね。ご覧の通り、元気でピンピンしてますわ。
もう、本当に心配してたんですからね。お弁当が食べ終わったら、職員室に来るんですよ。いろいろとお話があります。
Are there one thing she's laughing a lot more than usual? Probably. I could see that. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely her way to, probably make things seem like it's okay when it's really not. Satoko laughed sheepishly while she scratched her head and the rest of the class burst out into laughter. The teacher was acting angry, but she breathed a sigh of relief at seeing Satoko healthy and smiling as she ate her lunch with the classroom surrounding her.
でも安心したよな、レナ。
Rena is not relieved.
あ、ごめん。
Hello, where's my mouse? Why is it not continuing?
うん。無事でよかったよね。
I looked at Rena and knew. Got a sense that something about Satoko was off too. I looked to see Mion detached from the clamor as well, with a somewhat grim expression. But Rika-chan, on the other hand, was smiling ear to ear. She spread out the bento box because she already knew. But she already knows what the issue is. She spread out the bento boxes one by one as Satoko finished them. Finally, Satoko was satisfied after enjoying a thorough conversation with her classmates. Remember that she'd be called to the teacher's lounge.
めんどくさいんですけど、行かないともっと怒られてしまいそうですからね。僕も一緒に行きますですよ。
Satoko rises from her seat and Rika-chan rushes over to her.
ごめんあそばせケイイチさん。ちょっと怒られてまいりますわ。
おう。なんだったら俺も一緒に付き合うぜ。例のカレーの悪口の時、一緒に職員室で怒られた仲じゃねえか。
I mean, it's a private thing, Keiichi. Like, she's not going to get yelled at. At least I would think. Right?
それには及ばないのです。
Sorry, I don't know why I saw the incident, like, have a green eye. I thought I was like, what? Okay, but then I scrolled up and it was fine, so I was just seeing things, I guess.
ケイイチは、ここでお留守番なのですよ。
Rika-chan's words were gentle, but the firm rejection was clear in her eyes. The two of them exited the hallway, walking shoulder to shoulder. After seeing them off, the class breathed a collective sigh of relief, broke apart, and went back to their usual lunch break. And this has been a long lunch break, I feel, because he went out, talked with them, Satoko appeared, right? This was like a long lunch break to me. We, however, couldn't back to how we usually were. Not I, not Mion, and of course not Rena. They stared at the classroom exit Satoko and Rika-chan had left through, their expressions a little distant and
俺
grim.
たちは仲間だ。そうだろう、みんな。
I blurted out something strange, so Mion and Rena turned around with dubious
俺は
expressions.
仲間に隠し事はしない。だから、さっき聞いたばかりのことを言う。
I told them the stories I heard from Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun earlier about the tofu shop and how Satoko's uncle had apparently come back. All at once without letting them
こ
speak.
れが俺の知るすべてだ。だからミオンもレナもしていることがあるなら話してくれ。俺は俺の知るすべてを話したぞ。
I ended my sentence firmly and looked into Mion and Rena's eyes in turn. Rena stared right back at me. Her eyes didn't falter. Without even opening her mouth, I could tell she wasn't hiding anything. Then our gazes turned to Mion.
別に、私は隠して黙ってるわけじゃないよ。
Mion couldn't seem to endure our silent stares and began to talk timidly, as if she was guilty of something.
でも、ケイちゃんが話したなら、私も話さないわけにはいかないよね。
みーちゃん、何か知ってるの？
いや、聡子のおじが帰ってきたっての、帰ってきた初日から知ってたよ。この間の日曜日に、ふらっとひなみ沢に帰ってきたって。
So not recently. Last Sunday. Since the, I'm guessing, disappearance of his affair?
どうしてそれを
Or,
黙ってた？
like, lover or whatever? Well, that's not something to talk about.
ごめん。
What do you mean that's not something to talk about? Or like, well, sorry. Why didn't you tell us that? Why would Mion say... Like, I can understand when... Okay, maybe he's talking about when she disappeared. That probably is the case, when she disappeared. Which is fair. My angry shout caused Mion to flinch away, look down and hang her head uncomfortably.
ケイチ君、怒るようなことじゃないよ。みーちゃん怖がってる。
あ、ごめん。つい大声を。
I lowered my head in apology. Mion accepted it, collected herself, and continued. According to her, her uncle's relationship with his lover, whom he had been with in Okinomiya, had collapsed. Without anywhere to go, he went back home to Hinamizawa. And on that Sunday, on the day of the barbecue, her uncle ran into Satoko and brought her back to the house.
自宅になんで連れ戻すんだよ。
ろくでなしの寄生虫だからね。自分一人じゃ炊事はおろか、掃除一つできないし。
そんな。炊事やお掃除のためにさとこちゃんを連れ戻したっていうの？
I remember that she said she'd been cleaning the house when I met her back at the school gates. A moment later, the pieces fell into place, into the jigsaw puzzle of unease. As for what the puzzle depicted, when I saw it from afar, I could see the answer clearly.
さとこが家に閉じ込められて、いじめられながら家事をやらされてるっていう噂なんだよ。
If you knew that, why didn't you speak up? I nearly yelled that at Mion, but hastily stopped myself.
みーちゃん、それ本当なの？
私がこの目で確かめたわけじゃないから、本当かどうかは知らないけど。
Mion looked down again and staring at the floor grew quiet.
去年みたいに意地悪なおじさん夫婦のところで暮らしてた時みたいに。
でもさ、そのおじさんって家事はからっきしなんだろ？さとこが重宝なわけだから、何もいじめてるってわけじゃないかもしれないだろ？
ケイチ君、何を根拠に言ってるのか知らないけど、いい加減なことは言わない方がいいよ。
Is it irresponsible to say something like that? Rena clearly and directly got mad at me. You don't know much about this, so don't talk as though you do. Yes, that's clearly what she meant.
じゃあレナは知ってるのかよ？
私だって知らないよ。
Thing is, it feels like this Keiichi is the one that is most standing by his friends. Last time, in chapter 1 and chapter 2, it doesn't feel like he stood by them that much. This one, it feels like he's sticking by them as much as he could. At least that's how I think.
今ここで聞くまで、さとこちゃんがおじさんの家に連れ戻されたなんて知らなかったもの。でもね、1年前とは
Which I think, you
ま
know,
るで状況が違うの。
状況が違うってどういうこ
the
とだよ？
wife is not there, I guess.
サト
He's
シ君
standing
が
by
いない。
so he believed in a murder, Mion being his friend. That is true. That's fair. But I guess I'm thinking more along the lines of he was hanging out a lot with Shion, and after Shion started like putting things in his like head about like, you know, certain things, then he became a lot more sus of them. But we'll see what happens in later chapter 3 as well. But right now the way it's leading, he's like going to stick by them even more. So I don't know.
サトシはすごく妹思いのいい兄だったんだよ。いつもサトコをかばってた。意地悪なおじおばのとばっちりが少しでもサトコにかぶらないように盾になってくれてた。
家には意地悪なおじさんとさとこちゃんが2人きりなんだよ。それがどれだけ行き詰まるものか、ケイチ君にだって想像がつくんじゃないかな。ひなみ沢に帰ってきた理由だって身を寄せてた愛人が蒸発したからでしょ。そんな不愉快な理由で帰ってきた人がどうしてさとこちゃんに優しくできるっていうの？
She was right. It wasn't easy for me to imagine Satsuko not being tormented.
ごめん。
こっちこそごめん。問い詰めるような口調になっちゃったね。
Was she interrogating? I mean, it's like she's more like stating question, like I don't think she's interrogating. She's not trying to find out information. She was giving information to him. But sure. An awkward atmosphere floated amongst us. The three of us remained silent and just stared at the floor. Finally, we heard the principal's bell ringing. The teacher came back with Satoko and Rika-chan at her side.
さあさあ、午後の授業を始めますよ。委員長、号令。起立。
Do you have to do this?
ごめんなさいね。
Are you gonna leave again?
失礼。
Okay, no, they're just getting back in their seats. I couldn't read anything from Satoko's vaguely sheepish expression, but given the clouded look Rika-chan was wearing behind her, it was tough to laugh off the disquieting story I'd heard from Mion.
Yosh! 久々に全メンバーが揃ったからね。
Satoko's gonna have to go home early,
久し
isn't
ぶり
she?
にパーッと大部活で盛り上がろうじゃないの。
Yeah, perfect! Indeed, in times like these, the best thing to do was obviously get rowdy and scheme against one another in a club activity.
望むところだよ。ねえ、さとこちゃん。やろうやろう。
さとこが好きだったゲームあるでしょ。ほら、なんだったっけ。なんでも構わないよ。言ってみ。言ってみ。
Mion laughed happily, took a bunch of games out of the club locker, and lined them up on the desk. I think that was the first time Mion's ever let someone else decide on a game for her. I could tell she was being especially considerate to Satoko, thinking that whatever her circumstances, if we could just enjoy our time together as a group, that might be some comfort, some diversion. My bad. I just slammed my keyboard into the desk. Satoko seemed to understand her feelings too and smiled vaguely, though pleased. But her head slowly moved from side to side.
ありがたいですけど、お気持ちだけで結構ですわ。いろいろしなければならないことがありますので。
Even Rika-chan hung her head in remorse.
おいおいおいおいおい、本気なわけ？部活メンバーが久しぶりに揃ったってのにお流れになっちゃうわけ？敵前逃亡は罰ゲームってのは海賊第何条だったっけ？
やめなよ、みーちゃん。無理に付き合わせちゃダメだよ。
別におじさんは無理強いしてるわけじゃないよ。ただ大盛り上がりした方が絶対に楽しいと思って。
本当にお気持ちだけで嬉しいんですのよ。ご安心なさいませ。
You're trying to she is trying a bit too hard. She's like, when she did the thing of like, hey Satoko, you can choose any game you want, that was like, it's a bit much. You're not even trying to hide it at that point, I feel. Satoko, while insulting us, still said she couldn't participate in the club today and apologized. She quickly put her things into her bag and pattered out to the hallway, disappearing. I don't have... Oh. It all happened in the blink of an eye.
さとこ。
Rika-chan stared lonesomely at her friend. Rika-chan stared lonesomely as her friend hurried home, unable to be a part of club activities. Silence filled the classroom. Both the cheerful voices of our classmates in the schoolyard and the voices of the cicada sounded like they were coming from some faraway world.
つまんないの。
I agree, Mion. The silence was broken by Mion's bitterness as she began putting the games on the desk back into the locker. Everyone just stared absently at Satoko's seat, now empty.
リカちゃん、そろそろ話してくれてもいいんじゃないかな。
Rena made a gentle smile as gentle as a smile as she possibly could, and spoke softly to Rika-chan. Even without hearing it from her, we pretty much knew the situation at this point. Satoko's uncle had broken up with his lover and come back home to Hinamizawa, and he had taken Satoko back home and forced her to do all the household work. And that all had to be pretty rough on her. Thinking this was common knowledge to everyone, I skipped to the important part.
だいぶひどいのか。
Maybe Mion and Rena wanted to ask the same question. Nobody spoke. We all just stared, waiting for Rika-chan's reply. Rika-chan still didn't answer us. We were hoping for her to say no, but her silence was a bad enough
去
sign.
年だっけ、おじ夫婦の元にいた時もこんな状況だったんだろ
うん。あの時は、夫婦喧嘩のとばっちりみたいなのがほとんどだったからさ。こうして部活で時間を潰して、家にいる時間を極力減らすのも一つの手だったんだけど。
Seems like she's forced to go home now, though. Or she's scared and doesn't, like, feel like she has to go home.
今は家事を強制されてるから、学校に残ることもできないんだね。
Shit. Satoko's not a slave? Who do you think you are, ignoring your own inability to live properly and basically putting Satoko under house
う。常
arrest?
識的に考えてこんなのおかしいんじゃねえのか。いろいろと状況証拠は必要だろうけど。
Yeah, that's what I was
こういうのって
thinking.
虐待だろ。
This feels like something Oishi-san should actually be a part of.
警察とかに通報できないのかよ。
そうだよね。
I guess, yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I agree with Ruben. Like, now she's forced, like, she's scared, you know, she, like, obviously, technically, she could still go out, but she's probably just really scared of her uncle. And what he's going to do if, she's not there. Even if she tries to, like, let's say, move in with Rika again. It's, like, she probably is afraid. She doesn't want to affect Rika in any way.
あるいはそういうのって地域の民生委員さんとかに相談できないの？
And I kept saying police, police, as though it were nothing, but Mion's response sounded like though we were a little naive.
みんな簡単に言ってくれるけどさ、それを立証するリスクを考えたことある？
リスクってなんだよ。
一昨年の冬かな。通報したんだよ。児童相談所に。虐待があるからすぐに何とかしてくれって。
そうだったんだ。それで？
電話してすぐにお役所の人が来てくれたよ。で、さとことかさとしとかに事情聴取してた。ついでにおじ夫婦のところにもね。
さとことさとしに聞くまではいいが、おじ夫婦にまで聞くのはまずいんじ
you
ゃない
should
のか。
talk to them. Like, they could still, like, mess up and
両者
whatever.
の意見を聞いて総合的に判断するんだとさ。
I think this is back then. Yeah, 1983. Standards have definitely changed from this from now. So it's like, I could say, like, that makes absolutely no sense. That wouldn't happen. Like, but I'm pretty sure standards have changed a lot from then. Like, stuff like this, they can't do that.
ご立派ご立派。
で、結果はどうだったの？
様子見。
様子見ってなんだよそれ。
おじさん、とっても勉強になっちゃったんだけどさ、法律ではね、暴行か育児放棄が認められなきゃ虐待とは言わないんだって。さとこもさとしもよく小づかれてたらしいけど、別に傷跡が残るようなレベルじゃなかったし。
This stuff, you also, this is where past as a social worker is the most clear. He clearly knows his stuff. Yeah, no, I mean, there's definitely a lot to it. That's cool. He was a social worker. That's crazy. He found a way to put his, how do you say, like, his past into one of the stories that he made.
3食の飯も一応食えてたし、
They were
寝床もあったし、心理的害傷を与える言動だって別にカセットテープで証拠があったわけじゃないし、村の人たちだって実際に乱暴してる現場は見たことないからね。いくら意地悪だからって人前で乱暴はしないでしょ。
Okay. They said they pretty much had 3 meals a day, but they were also saying that Satoko was pale, right? Like, you look at these, like, and she was, I don't, like, you know, she was smaller or skinnier or something like that. They said that. I'm pretty sure, like, Satoko's already, like, not, like, she's a pretty skinny person. I feel like if she looked even skinnier, there had to be some things they could see.
誰だって。
で、その後どうなったの？
しばらくは毎週決まった日に民生委員さんが訪問してたみたい。おじ夫婦も自分たちが見張られてることを気にして目立ついじめはしなくなったらしいけど、それで済むわけないでしょ普通。
より陰湿ないじめ方に加速していったってことだね。
Mion sighed and nodded.
おばのやつが特にねちっこくってさ、女特有の陰湿さっていうのかな。
Going on, yeah, definitely.
相当いやらしいことをしてたらしいよ。さとこ、最後の方は呼吸するだけのボロ人形
But I
みたい
don't
だった。
understand, like, what could they have been doing? Apparently, if it didn't leave any marks, right? If the way she's putting it, Satoko is like a doll that did nothing but breathe by the end of it. How are there no, like, marks or anything? Unless they're, like, waterboarding her or something, right? Like, I can't imagine what possibly it could be. So what? From that conclusion, does that mean they never should have contacted child welfare in the first place?
わかった？誰の目にも明らかな虐待の証拠がなかったらお手上げなんだよ。むしろ状況を悪化させかねない。あれは失敗だった。
After hearing that even public organizations, the one that they thought was dependable, couldn't do anything, everyone hung their heads.
つまり誰の目にも明らかな虐待の証拠が見つかるまで通報すべきでないってことなんだね。
うん。まあそういうこと。
I considered Satoko's current situation. She was brought back to her house. It was a little difficult to call that abuse. She was being tormented and forced to do the chores. I'm pretty sure now, I mean, I'm pretty sure this has to do with like North America, so I don't know, it probably works differently in Japan. I'm pretty sure though that if a child is not like being allowed to go to school, that is considered like some type of abuse. Like if like obviously, you know, it's not, if the child wants to stay home, that's different, but if the child wants to go to school and is not able to, I'm pretty sure that's considered some type of abuse. I could be wrong, but like that's a difficult thing to prove, don't get me wrong. That's a very difficult thing to like even talk about, but to me, I feel like I've heard stuff about that. She had some kind of external injury. Not sure how, yeah, especially in 1983. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying as well. Like it's 1983 as well, so it's something else entirely. She had some kind of external injury, but that would work. But as far as we could tell from today, she had nothing like that. I mean, forced to do the chores, that was a bit weak too. There had to be better evidence that she was, without a doubt, being abused. I know. Her uncle had ignored Satoko's existence for a whole year and went to live with her lover in town. Didn't that fall under one of the definitions of abuse that Mion had mentioned? Child neglect?
それは立派な育児放棄だね。
Yeah, but he came back.
どうなのみーちゃん。
おじが今もいなければ育児放棄は認定されそうだけど、今この瞬間は同居してるわけでしょ。今までは別居だったけど、心を入れ替えて同居することにしたなんて言われたら、また様子見なんてことになりかねないよ。
Once we reported it, we'd need to be absolutely sure they'd interpret it as abuse. Maybe we needed far more concrete evidence, lest we repeat last year's
な
mistake.
んだか悲しい。ということはつまり、さとこちゃんが乱暴されて大きな傷が残るまで黙って見てろってことなんだよね。
The only plan I could think of was, in the end, just watching and waiting. It left me in shock when I realized that it would be the same policy as that of the officials who had made the situation worse. As Mion said, reporting it to a public agency would be a gamble. If we're gonna pick a fight, it would have been one we couldn't afford to lose. We were gambling. Without enough money, without enough evidence, our defeat would be assured. If we took the time to amass enough money that we could be sure of victory, then that would mean pretending we didn't see Satoko's plight for a considerable amount of time.
こんなところで話を振ってごめんな。リカちゃんはどうして一人暮らしができるんだ？
Higurashi had lost her parents, if I recall correctly. From what I'd heard, she had no relatives either. She was forced to live on her own as a result, but her life was unfettered, free of restrictions. She could somehow grant that freedom to Satoko too.
リカちゃんって両親いないのに生活してるだろ。保護者のいない子供って孤児院みたいなところに入れられちゃうんじゃないっけ？
圭一くん、それひどい。
悪口で言ってるんじゃねえよ。そこにサトコを救うヒントがあるかもしれないと思って。リカちゃん、気分を害したならごめんな。
Higurashi shook her head, not particularly disturbed.
それはですね、実は村長さんちの子供になっているからなのです。
補足がいるね。村長の君吉のおじいちゃんがリカちゃんの保護者なんだよ。
Oh.
ちゃんと県知事の許可を得た正式な。
養子みたいなものか？
養子とは違う。別に籍を入れなくても保護者にはなれるんだよ。
わかってきた。つまり、リカちゃんは普通に暮らしてるけど、法律の上では村長さんの家に住んでることになってるんだね。
Okay, makes sense.
まあそんなとこ。そのおかげでリカちゃんは孤児院送りを免れてるってわけ。孤児院っていうか児童養護院のことだけど。
Why to be different?
難しいことはよくわかりませんが、つまりはそういうことなのです。
ミオン、今興味深いことを言ったな。席が違っても保護者になれるみたいなことを言ったよな。じゃあ形だけでも村長さんとかが聡子の保護者になってくれればいいんじゃないのか？
Can't work either because the uncle is considered the guardian. Then she'd be in the same position as Rika-chan, and she could go back to her old life.
ところがそうはいかないの。だっておじだって保護者のつもりなんだもん。
ちょっと待て、わけがわからなくなったぞ。そもそも保護者ってなんだ？
In legal terms, a guardian and a parent weren't necessarily synonyms, so whoever was actually looking after her at home would be considered her guardian.
ならおじは保護者じゃないな。
What are you Okay, Keiichi. Didn't you just answer your own question there?
ずっと聡子をほったらかしにしてた。
でも保護者だと主張されたらそれまでだよ。聡子が連れ戻されてから数日。その間の食事代はおじの財布から出てるよね。一応面倒を見てると主張できなくもない。それに1年間聡子をほったらかしたとはいえ、最初の1年間は生活の面倒を見た実績がある。でも村長にはその実績はない。
What do you mean the
意地
main?
悪なおじさんと村長さんが同時に保護者を主張したら、おじさんの方が強いってこと？
その可能性が高いってこと。それに保護者ってのは実際に面倒を見てる人を指すんだよ。実際に寝床や食事を握ってるおじと名義だけ貸そうとしてる村長じゃどうにもならない。
じゃあ村長が実際に生活の面倒を見
Okay,
れ
yeah,
ば
why
いいじゃな
doesn't
い
she
か。
just move? Like, what if she just moved to a
そうすれ
different
ば
place?
名実ともに村長が保護者になれるんだろう。
We just need to shelter Satoko. That might lead to her uncle being desperate to take her back, but will stubbornly refuse
そん
him.
な簡単にはいかないよ。聡子は育ち盛りの女の子なんだよ。人間一人の面倒を見てくださいなんて、猫の子預けるのとはわけが違う。
じゃあ監督はどうだよ。監督ってよくは知らないけど裕福なんだろ。自分で言ってたくらいなんだし、本当の親でなくても保護者になれるなら監督でも可能なんだ。監督なら聡子の面倒を立派に見てくれる気がする。
だから聡子をペットみたいに考えないでって。ケイちゃんはさっきから聡子を誰かに押し付ける話ばっかり。人間一人の生活の面倒を見る責任ってものをもっと慎重に考えて。監督に聞いたの。聡子を引き取って面倒を見るってちゃんと確約を得たわけ？
そんなの得てないよ。でも監督なら絶対に OK するだろ
う。まあいいよ。100歩譲って監督が OK したとするよ。でもダメなんだよ。保護者は独身じゃダメなんだよ。
Ah, that's right. Coach, didn't he say it himself? He was alone, so he couldn't do it. Shit, what the hell? Why is being single such a disadvantage in this society? Then all you could do is marry into a wealthy family, couldn't you?
ひなみ沢にそんなお金持ちはいるのかな？難しそう。
ね、簡単じゃないんだよ。人間一人引き取るってのは。誰かに押し付けようなんて短絡的な考えがそもそもダメなの。考えが浅いんだよ、ケイちゃんは。
なんなんだよ、チクショー、チクショー。
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, she has a point, Keiichi. Like, if it's that easy, you know, why don't you ask your parents to take Satsuko in, you know, if you're meant to be her brother? You know?
俺は必死に聡子を救おうと考えてるのに、ダメだってそればっかり。お前ら本当は
Okay,
聡子のことなんかどうでもいいんだろ。仲間のこと 本気で心配してないんだろ
Okay, Keiichi showing his stupidity once
どう
again,
なんだよ
where he lashes out.
そんなつもり。
He's flying up. Yep, there he goes.
でも、そう簡単にはいかないっていうか。
そんな難しい話じゃねえだろ裕福な奴が、サトコをしばらく面倒見てくれればいい
Keiichi, what are you
それだけ
talking
のこ
about?
とだぞそうだミオンチはどうだよお前、御三家とかいう立派な家柄なんだって自慢してたよな話じゃ、ものすごいでかい家に住んでるそうじゃないか
うち無理。そんなの、バチャが許してくれるはずない。
じゃあ、沖宮に住んでる親はどうだよ
Keiichi, okay, Keiichi, you literally, this is the opposite. You keep, why don't you, like, nominate yourself then, huh? Like, come on.
聞いた話じゃ、こっちもかなりの豪邸に住んでるらし
It
いじゃ
always
ない
gets
か
me so mad when I see people just fly off the rails like this. Like, come on.
町には親類の経営する店がたくさんあるそうだし、立派な資産家じゃないかよ、おい
ダメ。沖宮の家なんてもっとダメ。うちのお父さん、そんなの絶対に許さない。
おい普段は散々大物ぶりを自慢しといて、ここ一番で及び腰かよなんなんだよお前、サトコを見殺しにする気かよ
そんなつもりはないけど。そりゃ、私だってサトコは助けてやりたいよ。でも、それとこれじゃ、話が
違うってのかよ冷てえやつ
Dude, like, this is part of the reason why I hate Keiichi so much. The thing is, like, yeah, Irie is so weird and everything, but man, like, it's just, Keiichi just flies off the rails randomly and just, like, goes off on people for no reason. I don't know anyone else in the story who has done that, but Keiichi just starts yelling at people and then, like, just chastising them for absolutely no reason. Like, just being on the side of Keiichi, it's just so annoying.
仲間の危機だろ
Like, and she just blames people for no reason.
ここで救わなかったら何なんだよ部長だろ部活の救えよ仲間の危機をよ
Like, look at this dude. This is the exact same thing he did to Shion in that one call.
今ここで救わなかったら仲間じゃねえ人じゃねえ
Like, look at this. Like, I understand getting frustrated. Why is it warranted to say this?
お前の人間性が問われてるんだよ
Also, this has a double meaning, I think.
聞いてるのかよミオン
My emotions all exploded out of me, and I didn't give her a chance to say anything in response. I just wanted to make Mion agree with me, even if I had to force her. If she did, Satoko's problems would be solved. If pushing her would solve the issue... Like, no, I understand where he's coming from, but he's literally saying the worst possible things imaginable. Like, no matter how much even if I'm fighting with someone, no matter how much, like, I feel that I want to say something, I do not, like, I think about what I say before I say it. To see if it's something I should say. Like, Keiichi just doesn't think a lot of times.
何さっきから黙り込んでんだよ聞いてるのかこの野郎どうなんだよなんとか言ってるよ園崎美代
みー
Mion, looking down with a grim face, began sobbing. Her hands were clenched with trembling fists, and she rubbed her eyes to wipe away the tears. Was what I said actually that mean? Oh my gosh, dude. This isn't the time to cry. We're in the gambling room now, and we have to do something to save Satoko. And as I thought that, Rena spoke, her voice cold and incredibly calm.
ケイチくん、みーちゃん家がダメなら他の裕福な家を探したら私、ひなみ沢に立派な豪邸建てて住んでる人。
Oh, yeah, there we go, Rena, yeah.
誰だよ
白々しいよ。あれだけ立派な家に住んでて、自分の家だけは蚊帳の外。
Exactly. You know what? Genuinely, I think Rena's not my favorite character. Literally because of this. I think she's my favorite character now.
俺
I've
んちか
really been
よ
liking her last chapter and beginning of this chapter. I think she's not my favorite character.
俺の家は
仲間なんでしょ？救ってよ、圭一く
Oh
ん
my,
が。
it's so good.
みーちゃんはダメだってさ。じゃあ仲間思いの圭一くんがお手本示さなきゃダメだね。あれだけ大きなお家に家族3人で住んでるんだっけ？
So true, Rena!
じゃあ空き部屋なんかいくらでもあるよね。
Exactly!
余ってるお部屋、いくつかさとこちゃんに分けてあげればいいじゃない。それでめでたくさとこちゃんの悩みは解決。あら何？これでもう終わり？あっけない話だったね。はいはい解決、お疲れ様。じゃあもう今日はいい？私帰るね。ランランラン。今日は久しぶりに宝探しにでも行こうかな。昨日まではずっとさとこちゃんのことが心配で全然遊ぶ気になんかならなかったし、今日はどんな宝物が見つかるかな。はうー。なんか言ってよ。私だけ喋りずくめ？黙ってんじゃないわよ。聞いてんの？前原圭一。
Even the cicadas seemed to cower in fear. Rena, her shoulders bobbing up and down, and me, who had forgotten to breathe. Mion, whose face had gone completely pale, and Rika-chan, who was keeping silence as if nothing had happened. The atmosphere in the classroom grew tight and stiff, and it petrified us where we stood. Rattle. The sound of the chair as Rena sat back down after having stood up finally allowed everyone present to take a breath. Rena. Has shown me just how much I'd hurt Mion. Look at that, and Keiichi's not even gonna try. He's not gonna try to ask his parents.
レナが怖いのです。
Yeah, honestly, good. After a few moments, Rika-chan cut into the frozen air.
ごめんね、リカちゃん。みーちゃんもごめん。ケイチくんには謝らなくてもいいよね。
Don't!
ああごめんめちゃくちゃなこと言って悪かった。
さっきのあれ、私に言ってたの？みーちゃん睨みながら言ってたから、私てっきりみーちゃんに言ってるもんだとばかり思ってた。
If I had such strength, you wouldn't have imagined it normally. All I did was spout terrible things as a wave of violent fury passed over me. I couldn't contend with her.
ミオンごめん頭に血が上ってた。
To think of it, I didn't understand what had gotten me that riled up. I thought of myself as Satoko's Nini, so I only had good intentions, said I'd think about it a little harder than everyone else, and yet...
いいよ。私こそ、ケイちゃんが一生懸命悩んでるのに、あれはダメこれはダメばっかり言って、ごめんね。私も、悪かった。
Mion rubbed away the tears at the corners of her eyes with her fists and apologized as well. We bowed our heads to each other and looked down without glancing at each other. Someone I didn't know who heaved a sigh. Satoko being tormented had been known about since last year. How had the tragedy back then saved Satoko? How had they brought it to an end? Right. In the end, nobody could do anything. All they could do was bear it patiently and wait for those agonizing days to end. That's right. The one who brought an end to those terrible days was some crazy drug addict nobody knew. On the night of Watanagashi last year, their mean aunt had been beaten to death. But it hadn't been done to save Satoko or Satoshi. Right. It really was just a coincidence. Satoko's friends who needed to do something for her most of all could do nothing. The incident may have been a tragic one, but from Satoko's viewpoint, it was nothing less than a miracle. Yes, a miracle. A miracle one could only wait for.
罰しかないのかよ俺たちには。
Not for evidence of abuse, not for something that minor.
何をかな？
奇跡。
No one made fun of me for using such a crazy word. We couldn't come up with any solutions, so it was the only thing we could do.
無力なんだよ。私たちは。
That one word Mion dropped was the finishing blow. It was hot. My body was sticky with sweat. June, the worst month. glad you did the second session of this stream. Yeah. It was really good. I like that a lot. I walked forward quite a ways, then turned right where the white rice fields ended. I'd never come here before, so I had no idea where to go. I got lost several times, so it may have taken quite a long way around. Maybe I should have gone back home and gotten my bike first. It would have made everyone else worry if I'd asked them, so I asked one of the other classmates where Satoko's actual house was. That house was originally her family's, apparently, not their uncle and his wife's. Their house had been bigger, so they had taken it for themselves. Right here. Several houses all in a line. Over there? I was visiting Satoko's house, but didn't particularly intend to meet her there. I didn't mean to spy on the enemy, her mean uncle either. Maybe I just wanted to be a little closer to her, as her Nini. Pretty words, but I didn't know if they were true. What Tomito-kun and the others told me was right. Okay, this is Satoko's house. It'd be this house? When I recognized it, my feet grew heavy. What did I come here for? My motive for coming here was absurd. When Mion had said at the end that we were powerless, it made me sort of frustrated. I wanted to do something, anything, other than waste the days away praying for a miracle. That's what made me come here. But that was all. Even if I would have witnessed her uncle actually tormenting Satoko, what could I do? Would I act like a comic book hero, punch the guy in the face, and take Satoko away with me, and then live together somewhere far away? That was ridiculous.
俺は無力だ。
The cicadas' voices raised in chorus sounded like they were scoffing at me. As though they were saying that if I couldn't do anything and wouldn't do anything, then I should go back home. Don't worry, Ruben. I heard a car approaching, so I got out of its way. But the car stopped right behind me, its horn honking shortly once. Annoyed, hadn't I gotten out of their way? I looked behind me and a familiar face was looking at me out of the driver's seat window.
監督、こんにちは。前原さん。こんなところでお会いするとは、本当に奇遇です。お家は近くなんですか?
Me being here wasn't normal. Just as I considered somehow giving him the slip, I noticed Satoko sitting in the passenger seat.
Satoko?
Satoko got out of the car and began unloading a lot of groceries from the trunk.
買い物の帰りに偶然監督にお会いしたんですのよ。送ってくださるというので、お言葉に甘えたのですわ。
自転車でこんなに買い物をしたら運びきれませんからね。
As Coach spoke, he pulled Satoko's bike out from the back seat where they put it. The grocery bags were big, and there were 4 of them. They all seemed to be packed full and very
こ
heavy.
の袋、セブンスマート？おいおい、自転車で行くにはちょっと遠すぎないか？
I looked at the bags and saw they were filled to the brim with sake bottles, snacks that you'd eat with sake, and a box of cigarettes. Their weight was one thing, but their contents were nothing less than luxury items.
監督のおかげで助かりましたわ。ちょっと坂道は辛かったですから。
Satoko gave Coach a smile filled with gratitude, but it was incredibly awkward and even heart-rending.
サトコ、この買い物、今晩の晩飯ってわけじゃないだろ？
当然ですわ。私、お酒なんか飲めませんし、おつまみも嫌いですし、タバコなんか吸うわけ。
He made Satoko go to a distant store by herself on a bike, so she could buy dumb shit like this. And what was the uncle doing right now anyways? He must have been working up a good sweat at this very moment if he needed to send Satoko out by herself, right? If not, then how much had Satoko had suffered for no reason? I hadn't intended to voice my feelings, but they have made it into my face. Coach might have noticed because he's clapped me on the shoulder. Just then one of the house windows clattered open, and I faced a vulgar man, the very sight of which made me immediately avert my eyes, emerge from within it. There were no self-introductions necessary. My gut told me that this was the uncle in question. The first thing out of her mouth should have been words of gratitude for Satoko.
サトコ、缶のガスかけっぱなしで出よったんな、この。
The heat for the sake one when you left.
ごめんなさい。でもすぐに買いに行けって言ったから。
やかましいわ。せっかくの銀座台無しにしよってん。どうしよったんじゃ。
ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。ごめんなさい。
Satoko miserably apologized over and over, bowing again and again. She could be perfectly described as a small animal. I had no idea what was happening. Satoko finished shopping for all this heavy stuff that wasn't even for dinner. She only managed to come back because she ran into Coach and he drove her home. She hadn't been found by him. So is Iria still... Well, This guy doesn't have a character portrait. When I say worst character, I mean characters that I actually like talk with and have a character portrait and everything. Like obviously, like, you know, this guy would be the worst character, but I don't really classify him as a character. You know, like, if he, like, the reason why is like I consider people who have the icon, the like, you know, like characters that are actually important. I understand this guy's probably important, but it doesn't feel like he'll be here for long. So what was with those words, those horrible, sleazy words that he said to Satoko? In what country's dictionary did it tell him to say such things to a young girl who just finished shopping? My anger, of course, wouldn't reach him. The uncle displayed no interest in me, instead shouting at Coach.
入江の先生じゃないですか。こんにちは。そしたら先生も上がっていきますか。もうオーラスですからすぐ入れますよ。ピンのワンツー、何でもありで。
いえ、遠慮します。さとこちゃんとは偶然お会いしたんで、ちょっとお送りしてあげただけです。すぐに失礼します。
そんな、ちょっとぐらいやっててくださいな。
We're on the last round, so there are multiple people inside there.
先生お金持ちじゃないですか。
I didn't even understand what her uncle and Coach were talking about, but I knew one thing for sure. Nothing of what he said had been to thank Satoko in any way. We're on the last round. You can get in right away. 100 yen per 1,000 points and anything goes.
さとこ、とっととカーキも持ってこんかい。ビールも冷めてもうた。冷蔵庫から冷えてるの出してくれな。
てっちゃん、娘に厳しすぎや。もうちょい言いたわらんとかわいそうやで。
あんな娘にはこのくらいでちょうどいいよ。兄貴ん家にいた頃からそうでよ。甘やかすと親の言うことをなんも聞かんやっちゃよ。
それよか、てっちゃんの妻だぜよ。
椿さんリーチしよったで。
おお、悪い悪い。なんね。椿、あんたまたリーチかいな。
Looked like it wasn't just her uncle, just some of her friends were over. No joke right now, because it's not the mood for it. Hey, wait. What was he? No, what were they doing? Flinging rude words left and right, making Satoko go shopping for your beer. What were they doing?
町からおじさまのお友達が来てて、麻雀やってますの。お友達のお夕食もご用意するように言われてますのよ。
なんだよ、それ。
Mahjong? He called his friends over for Mahjong? They were too busy playing, so they sent Satoko to buy them a crapload of booze from a faraway store. And the first thing he said to her was how she left the gas on. What the hell? What the hell?
何やってんだよ。麻雀って、そんなのに遊びほうけて、さとこにこんなのを買いに行かせるのかよ。
Even though Coach was listening, he pretended he wasn't. There was a line of heavy-looking shopping bags lined up on the ground next to the trunk.
さあ、前原さんも手伝ってあげてください。ほら、男の子なんですから、こっちの重い袋を持ちましょう。
監督、こんなのまかり通っていいんですか？こんなの絶対に。
Coach pretended he hadn't heard that violent outburst either. When I thought about it later, his reaction might have been the best thing he could do in that situation.
私も2つ持ちますから。ほら、前原さんも持つのを手伝ってあげてください。
The bags were packed to the brim with bottles of sake and bar snacks. They were so heavy and so filthy, so unfair. They weren't just heavy in terms of weight. It made me feel mortified. Nothing could have been heavier than that. Also,
ケイチさん、無理しないでいいんですのよ。
I understand this is 1983, but I thought Japan's alcohol laws were stricter than most other places in the world. Like, how do they allow a 12-year-old to go buy sake?
私も持ちますわ。
Satsuko mistook my biting back the humiliation as grimacing under the weight and offered to help.
バカ、俺を舐めるな。
Satsuko had never looked down at my physical strength in the slightest.
監督もすみませんわね。重いでしょ？
No, not at all, answered Coach, smiling vaguely, coolly. But I, and I alone knew, Bush was an adult, so he knew how to keep his feelings from showing. It was even more anger than I was feeling, burning deep in his eyes.
いや、重いですね。
Shit. Shit! It wasn't even very far to the doorstep of Satoko's house, but the bag squeezed my palms and started leaving red marks. Fury welled up in me and the back of my throat stung. But even if it came all gushing out, it wouldn't solve anything. So, just tightly gritting my teeth was as much as I could do.
本当にありがとうございますですわ。監督も、ケイチさんも。おかげで、本当に助かりましたでございます。
After we carried them to the back door, Satoko said that was enough. Occasionally we hear the repulsive laughing of her uncle and his friends from within. My insides would seethe. I knew they weren't ridiculing us. And that was why it made me so mad. They made Satoko shop for all this heavy, selfish stuff, then ignored her, and laughed amongst themselves as they pleased. It was deeply aggravating. Yeah, I don't know how she even managed to carry it on her bike. Like, that's crazy. Of course, Coach had to have felt the same way. But if he accidentally let his feelings slip onto his face, he'd only cause Satoko more worry. He knew all that, and spoke coolly, as if to say he didn't care.
いいえ、ささやかでも、お力になれたなら、お手伝いできそうなことがあったら、いつでも言ってくださいね。
ええ、お気持ちだけでも本当に嬉しいですわ。
That he feels that way. Those words were sad. Satoko herself was sad and resigned that we could only help her so much. But she was right. No matter how much Coach or I wanted to help Satoko, this was as much as we could do. I felt absolutely ashamed at not having the power to help her any more than this. Burning, boiling emotions were bubbling within me and rising into my throat. Trembling all over, I almost started to cry from my fury.
力になれることがあったら、いつでも力を貸すから、頑張れよな。
I wanted to at least give her those trite words to say I'd help her whenever she wanted.
ええ、ありがとうございますわ。わざわざこうして、ここまで来てくださっただけでも、嬉しかったですわ。
Satoko seemed to have guessed what I was doing in a place like this, when my house was in the opposite direction from school.
さあ、もう行った方がよろしいですわ。今は酔っ払ってますから、どんな難癖をつけられるかわかりませんわよ。
She felt guilty getting us involved after we'd helped her, because she wanted to be the only one to suffer this misfortune. That's how it looked, and it hurt. I handed my supermarket bag over to Satoko, and then I noticed on the back of Satoko's hand, there was something that looked like a bruise.
おい、サトコ、このあざ、どうしたんだよ。
I knew as much as anyone how transparent that sounded. I didn't need to hear it from Satoko to know how this bruise came to be.
階段で転んだ時にちょっと打っただけですのよ。気になさらないでくださいませ。
嘘だろ。
Coach nudged me in the back, and then he put his index finger to his mouth to chide me for being so loud.
本当にありがとうございましたですわ。では明日、学校でお会いできるといいですわね。
そんな話してないだろ。その手のあざはどうしたって聞いてるんだよ。
The evening glow finally got to a point where I could see the other concealed oval-shaped bruises and traces of swelling on her neck and her legs and other places too.
階段から落ちたんですの。
The very moment my violent rampaging emotions were about to burst their way out of my throat, I found my mouth being tightly clamped down on. Coach was pressing down on my mouth from behind, wrapping around me tightly with his hands. Because of that, I couldn't say anything. I could only groan. Which I did. That was all I could do. I need to expel all the magma sitting deep within me, because otherwise I'd surely explode into a million pieces that very moment. So I groaned. I groaned. From my mouth, from my whole body, while heat fell in drops from my eyes. I groaned and groaned to the point of exhaustion. I wrung absolutely everything out of myself. Even having lost my voice, I was still wringing it all out.
わかります。わかりますから前原さん。今だけこらえてください。お願いですから。前原さん。
Endure it for now? And then what, huh? What would happen to her, to Satoko? Her body and mind were wounded, and she was being made to suffer like this. Can you not even let me howl in vain at it? Is that it, coach? Are we this powerless? So powerless that we can't even fucking scream from the bottom of our hearts? The voices of the Higurashi made me calm down. I didn't know how long it had been. Satoko abruptly gave a slight bow.
ありがとうございますですわ、ケイチさん。
サトコ。
今、ケイチさんが本当のニーニーみたいに見えました。私の本当のニーニーはいなくなってしまったけど、私にはケイチさんというニーニーがいてくれる。
そうだ。俺が、お前のニーニーだ。お前が、辛い時、絶対に助けてやるから。ニーニーが、サトコをきっと助けてやるからな。
Satoshi Hojo, you fucking idiot. If not now, then when? Satoko, she's never been in more pain in her life. If it doesn't save her now, then when will he? Why did you run away? Why did you abandon her? Why did you leave Satoko behind? You didn't have any right to call yourself Satoko's brother.
俺は、逃げないからな。絶対に、逃げない。サトシみたいに。お前を見捨てて逃げたりしない。絶対に、俺はお前を、見捨てない。
Slip. Tears trickled down from Satoko's eyes. And then she narrowed her eyes into a smile.
さよなら、ニーニー。
So,
Sayonara, Nini.
sayonara is not used. Like, this is based on my limited Japanese knowledge. Sayonara is not used, like, you know, unless it's like a long goodbye. That's like, you're not gonna see them for a long time.
大丈夫ですわ。今のニーニーので、私、いっぱい力をもらいましたから、大丈夫。明日まで、頑張れますから。大丈夫。だから、ね。今日は、さよならで、ございますわよ。
There's no way that I could say, bye, see you tomorrow. Duolingo Max. Yeah, no, I mean, like, sayonara is not, you don't say sayonara to someone you're gonna see, like, tomorrow. You know, like, that's not something that people do normally. Like, they say, like, mata ashita, you know, like, until tomorrow is basically what they'll do. Or, like, you know, like, see you another time. They don't say sayonara. That's not something people say.
さとこ、はよ乾きも持ってこんかい。
The chapter finally turned me around onto Satoko. Yes, I think you did. And I know the reasoning, I think, was because it's like, you know, she reminded you, like, it was like the sibling relationship. And, you know, as I started playing this chapter, and definitely here, you know, I can understand why, you know, you would... I just realized I never changed that back. Why she'd be your favorite character. I feel like it makes sense.
さあ、ニーニー、早く行ってくださいませ。もう、私は大丈夫ですか
So when do you go for the long goodbyes? Like if somebody is going on a trip, or if somebody shut up, if somebody's going on a trip, or like if somebody, like, you're not like sure if you're going to see them again, you know, like it's meant to be like a final farewell, like in quotations, is how I see it.
早く。
You're not goated, no. No, you're not.
行きましょう。前原さん。これ以上は、かえって聡子ちゃんに迷惑をかけます。
監督、ニーニーのお家は、ちょっと遠いんですの。申し訳ございませんが、送ってあげていただけますか？
Yeah, I remember that. You telling me that.
ええ、わかりました。
Coach grabbed me by my collar and with strength I couldn't have imagined him having, started dragging me away. And I, unable to oppose him, started getting further away from Satoko. She waved her hands to us, expression still dark, and disappeared through the back door. Coach got into the car first, then turned around on the narrow path and brought the passenger side door around for me.
前原さんの気持ちは痛いくらいにわかります。いえ、前原さん以上にわかるつもりです。でも、今この場だけはこらえてください。あなたの心は確かに伝わりましたから。だから、こらえてください。でないと。
もう、わかってます。すみません。さっきはありがとうございました。
I meekly got into the passenger seat. The car accelerated quickly, and Satoko's house grew farther and farther away from the rearview mirror. We made a wide turn, and then I couldn't see our house anymore.
え？あなたのお家、そんな遠くなんですか？学校の反対側じゃないですか。
I didn't bother to reply. Would have been hard pressed to give him an answer why I was at Satoko's house. Coach didn't say anything more either. For a while, the two of us were silent, the only sounds from the gravel spraying over the road as we drove. I remembered how Rena said things were different than last year. At that time, she had Satoshi with her. Satoshi protected Satoko, so that less of the sparks fell onto
で
her.
も今は、サトシはいない。
はい、残酷ですが、それが事実です。
Coach seemed to understand what I really meant when I said
悲しく、
that.
あまりに残酷な話ですが、私たちの決意や努力、尽力には限界があります。
You know, this is the one time, I think, so far that we want the Watsunagashi to happen, right? Because then that flips everything on its head, surely. It sounded like an excuse, but he was right. Even if Coach and I wanted to be people Satoko could depend on, that was all. We did it at the front door. No matter how much I shouted that I would be her Nini, no matter how much I shouted that I wouldn't abandon her, no matter how much Satoko called me her brother, I couldn't do any more than that.
サトシは一体、どこに行っちまったんですか？
Right. Satoshi was another story. Her actual brother, Satoshi, he was in a position to protect her far, far better than we ever could. That was the cold, sad truth of this massive gulf between Satoshi and us.
今頃、どこでどうしているんでしょう。
Satoshi left home. I don't know why. Maybe it was because of Oyashiro-sama's curse, or he disappeared, or something. In any case, he wasn't beside Satoko now. At the time Satoko needed him to protect her most, he wasn't here.
どうして、今ここにいないんですか？一番守ってやらなければならないこの時に。
お社様のたたりがどうとか、いろいろ言われてますが、家出した、としか言えません。
ある日を境に帰ってこないって、仲間が言ってました。妹のさとこに、書き置き一つ残さずに家出を。
サトシ君は、コツコツとアルバイトをしてたんです。さとこちゃんが当時、とても大きなぬいぐるみを欲しがってましてね。結構いい値段らしくて、そのためにアルバイトをいろいろとしていたらしいんです。妹思いの兄でしたからね。おじ夫婦のもとで、不憫な生活を強いられている妹に、少しでも立派な誕生日プレゼントを贈ろうとしているんじゃないかって、みんな囁き合っていました。
In the end, he didn't use his savings for a birthday present for Satoko.
サトシ君がいなくなり、警察がいろいろと調べたら、サトシ君の貯金が、
Yeah, it feels like Keiichi has a one-track mind. It doesn't feel like he ever tries to think of the bigger picture. Like, he just focuses on what's in front of him. It's like object permanence, but for thoughts. It's like he can only focus on one thing.
方々をいろいろと調べた結果、その貯金を資金に、東京の方に行ったんではないかということになりました。
東京？何しに？
家出としか言いようがないじゃないですか。
自分が逃げ出すための資金をコツコツと貯めて、 そこまでは勝手ですよ。でも、里子を置いてくことはないじゃないですか。同じ家でするなら、里子も連れて行くべきだった。
Even now, Coach was still calm. He wasn't trying to pour any oil on the fire of my anger at all. He just waited until my anger naturally subsided. After listening to gravel being crushed under the wheels for a little while, Coach spoke abruptly.
察してください。置いていかれた里子ちゃんも同じ考えに至ったんです。
I'm a burden on my brother, and that's why he abandoned me. He didn't take her with him when he left. How terrible must Satoko have been being betrayed by the brother she loved so much.
でも、里子ちゃんはとても強い人でした。もちろん、親しい友人たちの支えもあってのことでしたが、ああして笑顔を取り戻すことができました。
Yeah, but it's crazy. Yeah, I know. I recalled how Satoko had spoken of Satoshi so brightly when I was eating dinner with her and Rika-chan a few days ago. At that time, I didn't think any more than how pleasant their sibling love had been. But now that I did think about it, I realized it was like she was peering into the distance from atop a pile of tragic perseverance.
サトシ君はきっと帰ってくる。その時までにお荷物じゃなくなった自分を見てほしいって。
里子はお荷物なんかじゃないですよ。あいつ、俺なんかよりよっぽど生活力はあるし、大抵のことは何だってできる。そりゃ、レナやリカちゃんなんかと比べれば劣る点はたくさんあるかもしれないけど、そこいらのやつよりよっぽど一人前ですよ。
サトシ君がいつ帰ってきてもいいように、そういう風になれるよう努力した結果です。涙ぐましい努力があったんですよ。
She lived with Rika-chan, while Rika-chan taught her how to handle everything flawlessly, all so that she could welcome back Satoshi at any time, that she could show she wasn't ashamed.
そのサトシはいつ帰ってくるんですか?
I asked Coach, but knew he wouldn't be able to answer. In any case, Satoshi ran away. He left Satoko and ran away from Hinamizawa. Someone said that when you leave Hinamizawa and run away, Oyashiro-sama's curse gets you, right? And that made sense. Satoshi running away and his disappearance, that would obviously mean people thought it was the curse, right? And they could smile. As though it were his own fault. As though he got what he deserved. Hey, Oyashiro-sama. Whoever you are. Satoshi didn't vanish because he ran away. You demoned him away with your curse, didn't you? If that's not what happened, then I won't forgive you.
サトシはいつ頃逃げ出したんですか?
去年の綿流しのお祭りの夜、おばが異常者に殺されて、その数日後の里子ちゃんの誕生日にです。
里子の誕生日に?
Bang. I slammed my hands on the dashboard in front of me with all my might. Satoshi, of all the days he could have chosen to run away. Their aunt just died a few days before, didn't she? All your days of suffering were about to end, weren't they? You were just about to start thinking about a new life, weren't you? It's wrong to be happy about someone dying, but for Satoko and her brother, her birthday had come at a crucial turning point. Their mean uncle had fled town and the siblings would be left alone. They should have been able to be happy about that on Satoko's birthday. Satoko was probably waiting for her brother to return this whole time. Waiting for her brother to return when he never did. Wait. So, every time that events were happening during the, after the Higurashi, Satoko's birthday had passed. So there were certain days where Keiichi was acting up or maybe didn't show up that was Satoko's birthday. Waiting with bated breath for her brother to return, her hopes and dreams of a new life to come growing ever larger. But no matter how long she waited, he didn't come back. He didn't even contact her. Satoko trembling in anticipation of a great present, just when would she have to face the cold, terrible truth? Satoshi, you fucking idiot. I could feel my blood rising to my head in anger at Satoshi. I was frustrated. I was aggravated. I couldn't forgive him. Satoko still respected and adored her brother, and yet he so heartlessly betrayed her. Such a person wouldn't just come back. Now, when he was most needed, yes, no one would protect her. Not even her real brother, Satoshi.
だから、あなたがニーニーだと認めてもらえて嬉しかったです。私も里子ちゃんの幸せを祈る一人ですが、 社会的立場があり、日中は仕事をしている身です。私が聡子ちゃんのために割いてあげられる時間は少ない。でもあなたは違います。学校で生活を共にし、聡子ちゃんや聡くんとも年はほとんど離れていない。あなたは自分ができることに限りがあると思っていますが、それでも私よりはずっと聡子ちゃんに手を差し伸べられる場所にいるのです。だから私の分まで聡子ちゃんの力になってあげてほしい、そう願っています。
そんなことは監督だって。
もちろん年季のある私だからこそできる助けだって同じようにあなたにしかできない助けだってあるということです。私たちは互いにそれを全うすべきだと申し上げたいのです。
Was that a little too complicated? Coach added that, but I shook my head in response. When I heard him say he had job skills, it reminded me that he was an adult, in a different position from all of us. Maybe I should ask him about it.
監督は法律とか詳しいですか？
いえ、平均的に疎いです。
I know even less than the average person? Why would you say that? I thought back to when I argued with Mion and the others about Satoko. Our children's argument had only left us with the conclusion that we had... Excuse me, had to wait and see. But what would an adult think?
児童福祉法でしたっけ？児童の安全を確保するために緊急措置として親子を分離させるという方法があるそうです。
緊急措置？じゃあすぐに聡子をお家の元から救い出せるということじゃないですか？
聡子ちゃんがそれを望まないかもしれません。
Yes, okay, so that's what we're gonna see what happens
虐
here.
待されている本人が避難を望まなければ弱いでしょうから。
聡子が望まない？どうして？
Coach didn't answer me. I didn't know why he didn't. It was clear as day that Satoko's uncle was being violent and treating her like a slave. So then why? I clamped down my frenzied emotions and waited intently for Coach to answer. But he never did. It wasn't like he was pretending he hadn't heard me. If I had to say, it was more like he wanted to explain but couldn't put it into the right
聡子
words.
ちゃんは多分そういういじめに耐えるのを試練だと考えているかもしれません。
試練？
Oh my gosh, so when her brother returns, she can take some of the thing.
変な宗教じゃあるまいし。
ご存知と思いますが、サトシ君は聡子ちゃんをずっとかばってきました。聡子ちゃんもずっとサトシ君に頼ってきました。甘えてきたと言うべきかもしれません。
I'd known for a while that Satoshi had always protected Satoko from their aunt and uncle, but that was his duty as an older brother, not something to worry
それ
about.
がトラウマになったかもしれないんですよ。自分が兄にもたれかかりすぎたから、兄が自分を嫌ってしまったんではないかってね。
And for Satoko, the current situation was a retelling of the story of a little over a year ago. But this time, Satoshi
だ
wasn't
から
here.
誰にも頼らずに自分の力だけで試練を乗り越えたい。そういう力を身につけなければサトシ君は帰ってこない。そういう考えになっていると私は考えます。
Now that he mentioned it, Satoko had never said a word about how hard it had been before. I figured she was being threatened not to talk about it,
みん
but
なと相談して児童相談所とかに通報すべきかなんて話をしてました。
聞いてますよね。昨年も福祉士さんがサトコちゃんのところに行ってるのは。
はい。結局様子見で余計にいじめられたって話も。
あれ、サトコちゃんが自分で通報したらしいんです。で、その結果、余計いじめが水面下へ移行してエスカレートした。サトコちゃんに降りかかるいじめも増え、それをかばうサトシ君の負担も著しく増えた。
ひょっとしてサトコ、それ通報した自分の責任だなんて思ってるんじゃ。
Coach nodded quietly.
サトコちゃんに通報の話をするととても嫌がる。
It's a difficult
その
situation.
必要はないと強がりを言うと思います。
I mean, like, I have never been there, so I wouldn't even know where to start, like, you know, or like had any
サトコちゃんに内緒で通報したとしても
experience with knowing other people that went through this.
自分は虐待を受けていないと言い張るでしょうね。
Yeah, I mean, if it's up to her, then... Satsuko always acts tough, and it doesn't really readily admit defeat, so I can imagine that easily.
一応、児童相談所には裁判所の許可も当事者の許可も一切不要で緊急措置ができる強い権限があるんだ。
Yeah, I feel like the fact that he said there's bruises and bumps all over her body, they have to see that there's something.
虐待が公然の事実なら、さとこちゃんが否定しても身柄は強制的に保護されるでしょう。それはさとこちゃんにとっては負けを意味するものなのかもしれません。
勝ち負けの問題じゃないですよ。さとこは現実に。
話を折りますが、身柄が保護されると養護院等の施設に送致されます。そうするとですね、そこで暮らすことになるので、
I guess that's fair.
学区変更で転校にもなります。
I mean, like, if you are... It's complicated and seeing it from a child's perspective. Keiichi's interesting, yeah. But I feel that, you know, you do care for Satoko, and yes, maybe she moves away, but I feel you do want that. Like, if she's able to move away, you know, you consider that a victory.
転校は仕方ないです。それであいつが
Okay,
保護される
there we
な
go.
ら。
Thank you, Keiichi. Good.
さとこちゃんはその辺の事情も知っています。だからますます保護を望みません。
どうして？
あの家でサトシ君の帰りを待つのがさとこちゃんの生きる理由だからですよ。兄に捨てられ廃人同然になりかけた少女が何に生きる理由を見出したか、あなたのでなくさとこちゃんの価値観で考えてあげてください。
Yeah, I think that's fair. Ruben. Felt like he was trying to confuse me with that hard-to-understand roundabout way of talking so unique to adults. The point was that I couldn't do anything about Satoko wanting to say that in-house, and that I should watch until she gives in. In the end, no matter what I said, Coach himself was saying to wait and see.
俺はわかりませんよ。
はい。
俺は本当にさとこが危ないと感じたら誰の意思も聞かずに通報します。その結果、さとこは不快な思いをして俺を恨むことがあるかもしれないけど、最終的にはそれがさとこの幸せにつながると信じます。
This POV is probably the right thing. Coach turned to me and gazed fixedly into my eyes. It was written all over his face. He was shocked at what such a young kid had said.
どうしてあなたはそこまで。
No, it's good. Coach, no, rather, normal adults might not have understood. So I taught him the creed and the values that I believed
さと
in.
こは俺の仲間だから。そして俺はさとこのニーニーだから。では、理由は足りませんか？
I stared at him with a will strong and unbreakable as steel, as his eyes betrayed a tiny bit of unrest.
足りないなんてことはありません。
Honestly, good, Keiichi. Just sticking with that. That, you know what? I'm happy that he said that. One Keiichi good line? Question mark? Impossible. We were silent for a little while until finally Coach said only that.
誓ったじゃないですか、俺たち。
すみません。
さとこを絶対に泣かせないって。
He made a vow on that day of the barbecue party. I didn't think about it hard at all, but Coach and I still made a promise that we would never let Satoko cry. Coach gave a dry grin of regret, immediately apologizing for not remembering. One way or another, when he grinned like that, it made me think that his enthusiasm for Satoko was a tiny bit smaller than mine. He lightly hit the brakes, making a skidding noise, and my whole body suddenly fell forward.
ひょっとして前原さんのお家ってあれですか？ああ、前原屋敷が前原さんのお家だったんですね。
Before I knew it, we were almost to my house. I was about to say, like, this is a long car ride. Damn. Case file 31. I'm guessing this is for Satoko's, the horror genre emotionally impact. So it makes sense. Met someone's relative. Achievement unlocked. I like how they kept that achievement vague. December 1st, 1980. Oh, so yes, okay, this is when No, this is not last year. This is the year before. Prefecture Juvenile Welfare Division report. Do not view, do not duplicate. Case 31, November 20th. Satoko Hojo, years old. Residence, Hinamizawa Village, Shishibone. Consultation circumstances. Anonymous telephone, SOS of child abuse. Abuse situation. Anonymous claims that a female child is suffering physical abuse by adoptive parents or guardians. Economic structure, marks abusers. Adoptive father, adoptive mother, older brother, child in question. Note, in June 1980, the child's parents died in an accident and she was given to her uncle on her father's side, her father's younger brother. 4. Child Consultation Center's response. On the day of the anonymous telephone consultation, the center called the child's school and asked of her situation. The next day, the welfare officer on duty visited the child's home and heard what they had to say. Both adoptive parents agreed to the center's coaching. Contacted anti-abuse network in the city. As part of this suggested coaching, a district welfare officer in the area began visiting for coaching at fixed intervals. The scrawl note below is stapled to the report. Related information from former official Mr. W. Referred to 1977, document D2-3, number 44. Ask Chief Investigator F from the city's education consultation offices. He's well informed about it. Doesn't feel like much information there. Next segment is where we see Fred Durst go Super Saiyan. It's like when it's when like you see it's when like her uncle's about to like slap her and then Fred Durst comes in and like blows up everything and then it's like it's okay Satsuko and then he heals her like wounds and everything and then it's all back to normal and everyone's happy and then exorcises the demon within Mion and like gets Oyashiro-sama out of Rena and I don't know what's Rika's deal yet but I'm sure we'll find that out. Yeah. You're already seeing it now, but Higurashi, especially when dealing with super complicated subject matter, is treated with so much empathy, and that's why I love it. It's good. Yes, that's exactly what happens. Nice! I'm glad to know I've already decided the story. Very cool, very cool. Well, that was probably the most difficult to read chapter so far, without a doubt. It was, very sad, overall. You know, it's, can only hope for the best in what's coming. Usually Watanagashi happens like halfway through the chapter, but it might be a while before we get there because it doesn't seem like the Watanagashi is that important. It's more like Satoko's entire story. Not looking forward to that. Yeah, I will kill Teppei Hojo in real life. You know what? You can find his voice actor and then send him death threats like a lot of people probably do or something. I am not recommending you do that, by the way. That was a joke. That was a joke. I want to make sure that's a joke. Yeah. All right. All right. Well, thank you to everyone who stopped by the stream. Tomorrow I will, depending on what time I stream, I will see if there's Higurashi. If I have 2 hours to stream, then it will probably be much earlier. You know, and I will see if I can get through one segment. If not, then I will just be playing some more Dredge. Yes, I will send death threats. Thanks for the legal advice. I have not said anything. This is not... I just wanted to be clear that when this clip is used in a court of law, that I did not recommend him to do this. I told him multiple times to stay away from doing that. So, yeah. Alright, well thank you for everyone who stopped by the stream. I appreciate it, and I will be back with more Higurashi When They Cry, either tomorrow, or if not, then sometime coming this week, probably on a Thursday. And if